Welcome back to the Metropole Grid. My name is Andre. How's it going tonight? It is the 26th of August, 2021. We are just 2 days away from America's Continentals. It's going to be a big competition. How's everyone doing tonight? Give me 1 second to hit all the buttons in the right order. My skin tone's a bit warm tonight. That's okay. We can deal with that. Perfect. That was the right size. What we had before was incorrect. How's it going? Yo, Jessica, welcome. Giles, a lot more pleasant than getting raided by Vikings. Yusengren, thanks so much for the raid. How's the testing been so far? I see you are signed up for the Americas. We're definitely going to be rooting for you here. I don't know if you've locked down your decks so far or what things look like. Seems like raiding doesn't move me over with everyone, which is a bit awkward. Does it really not? That's strange. I'm losing a lot. That's what testing is for, because you get those out of the way before and then you move on to game day, and at that point you figured out what losing looks like, so you just don't do that. You do the opposite. Giles, how's it going as well? Seabass, welcome. How you doing? Hey Andre, how are the vibes this evening? The vibes are good. I'm excited. If it's not obvious, we have a big tournament that's going on this weekend. We had a big one last weekend. We had a big one the weekend before. If you're just watching, you're tuning in, and you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about Nisei Continental Championships 2021. It's the American Continental Championships. Isn't that used to be saying Americas? Or am I just old school? It is this weekend, starting Saturday, going on second cut onto Sunday. If you make the top cut, it's going to be a big thing. It's going to be streamed on Project Nisei. I will be hosting the event, so I'll be doing commentary through all of it if I don't fall apart. But it will be on Project Nisei. So if you haven't subscribed to Project Nisei's Streamception, if you haven't subscribed, go to twitch.tv/Project Nisei. It'll be in the show notes. Give them a follow, hit that button there, and that'll give you a push notification when they go live. We should be going live around 10:30 to 11 Eastern on Saturday. It'll be a whole day of Netrunner, this test stream. That was me, mind you. So we know everything works. You can watch. It's about 56 seconds of Fencer Flano, and it's pretty good stuff. So expect more, if not better. Doomster House, how's it going? Hope it's been a good week. It's been really pleasant. It's been a busy week. There's actually like a lot of news. There's a lot of things to talk about. I went to a Flesh and Blood event yesterday. Blitz Armory went undefeated, won the first one of those. So I'm pretty hyped about cards in general. It's been good. I want to take this platform to brag, I'll be honest. Everyone should hit a follow on Yusengren stream 100%. And same with the YouTube channel. I saw that you were streaming, I think earlier this week, twitch.tv. Is it Yusengren or Yusengren SC? Yusengren. I have a follow. You won't see a follow because I have a follow on A Maverick. I don't really watch stream on my Metropole Grid, but I'm gonna hit the follow button. There you go. Yeah, I hit it. It's behind my face. I did it. Why can't it? Whatever. It's followed. Who's ready for NA cons? Solomir. I hope I am. We got a lot of talking to do. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Twitch's interface feels like it's made for a different generation. It's not amazing. It's really not that great. I'll admit it. Do you think we'll see more or less sports on 419 with American Continentals? How's it going, Bloom? That's a good question. I don't think we're going to see a really big change, I'll be honest. We'll go through the results of the, because we just saw the Euro Africa, and there was a lot of sports, a lot of Max. Fair bit of 419 too, but I think 419 wasn't the most popular. I think Max is actually the most popular at that tournament. So I'm going to see how people, like, we see some slight meta changes, like Arc Lockdown now is a thing that's showing up in a lot of the decks, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Why did I search Reddit? It's showing up in a lot of the decks as a response to not only Clot, but just like Max in general. It's a really powerful card. All the HB decks are playing it, but there still seems to be some pretty strong homogeneity. We'll see what that is, because if the field is very homogenous, you do have, you know, the potential to be able to capitalize on that, but we'll see. I just watched the APAC tournament. The commentary was delightful. The first Netrunner I've really seen in a while was fun. APAC commentary was really good. Euro Africa's was as well. So we're hoping to do the same on the weekend. We'll see. It'll be fun. I'm joined by some really nice people. Easing my work stress with NR streams. Hey, nice. 56 seconds is the most action fun I've seen since release. Oh, but we shined bright. That's for sure. Yo, Vincent, how's it going? Spray, how you doing? Zeroth, Maxima, how will Shaper fare in your opinion? Yo, Shaper kind of fell off really hard last. Always be running. Also, Phil, can we talk about what you're doing on the weekend? I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. Can I talk about it? But if we look at results, I think Shaper was like way less represented at Nice's at the Asia Pacific. I don't think any shaper made the top cut. If you look at the top cut here, otherwise there was only like 9 or 10 shapers off the whole day. So we're looking at Smoke, Wu, Lat, and Tao. And so that's mostly all the shapers, right? Besides Kit. But at the top cut, it's pretty clean. Wait, no. What am I talking about? Shapers made the top cut? Oh, never mind. I'm making some stuff up. Okay, ignore me. I thought it was actually more homogeneous than that. Okay, that's actually way better. How will it do? I don't know. So far, all the shaper that we've seen is just Apocalypse shaper, and Apocalypse still seems like pretty good. It's just universally good. We're seeing lists that are showing up, like some of these like PD lists have specifically cards like Crisium Grid in it to be able to deal with it. I think that's really cute. But right now, shapers is mostly that. Oh, I'm looking at APAC. This is why. I think I am not wrong on this one. I think I'm not wrong. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. I knew I was pretty sure there was no shaper. Yeah, okay. So will we see more shaper? So shaper had representation, then it had much less representation. I think out of these 10.5 smoke decks, I would not be surprised if a lot of them were the old deck list of the week, the Stealth Punk deck, which I think is a really powerful and fun deck. I don't know, but the top cut we didn't see a lot of shaper, and I don't know. I feel like shaper's kind of, it seems like one of the IDs or one of the factions that's the least solved. I think there's some really strong things you can do. I think they're all kind of hinge on out of faction cards and abusing them. Like I love that this smoke deck could play imp consistently over and over again, which is really powerful against things like Sports Metal. You also have access to Clot. Not that smoke deck did. You do have to play very aggressively around Arc Lockdown, but I think there's a possibility. Have you seen the cool drafter plus gank combo in CR 1.5? I thought more people would have mentioned it. Connor, I heard about it because Sokka mentioned it during commentary on the what's it called, on the Euro Africa. So this is what's happening, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to try and describe it. Apologies, I feel like I'm all over the place, but this is actually really cool. So there's some changes to the rules from 1.5 that, from my understanding, state that you have to access all cards in the root of a server, even if a card has been installed into the root of the server midway through the run, if I'm not mistaken. Is this what's accurate? So the idea is that there's some like infinite combos now in Netrunner that exist, where the idea is that if a runner hits a ganked in a remote server, now it's called the root of a server, in the root of the remote server, you can gank them into trashing this, and you can gank them into something like a drafter. And then you can use the drafter to reinstall the ganked, and then they still have to access the new gank that was just recently installed. And you can technically do that infinitely. And that might seem like firstly, what's the point? And secondly, that's pretty difficult. But then there's a lot of other support cards. You play a Helheim servers, and then you can just dunk your whole hand once they hit the gank specifically, right before they access it, to make sure that drafter fires, because it's going to have a lot of subroutines. And then I think the real reason why this infinite combo can be a problem is Project Kusanagi specifically, where if you get this scored with one additional advancement on it, you can give that drafter a net damage, and then you can kill the runner almost indefinitely. I don't think there's any tech that prevents that, because they just keep hitting that drafter over and over again. That will be doing a single net damage. I don't understand what changed in rules CR 1.5 to make that a possibility, because I thought, like, I would assume that if you use a gank to reinstall a gank, you have to access it, but maybe that's not true. But that's pretty cool. I don't know how consistent it is. I think Ganked is a heck of a card, and I wish to some extent we saw more of it, but Helheim Ganked has shown up in competitive lists. Classically, I think we saw Sid take America's Continentals last year with a deck that had that sort of tech in it, if I'm not mistaken. So how's it going, Nero? Sorry, I think I'm behind on chat. The Sanger says, I think Shaper can be optimized to be very close to elite tier, but for the most people that put in the effort, APOC Max is the same thing, but better. Yeah, most of the Shaper lists we see are APOC lists, and so, you know, Max just draws the deck. It's good. All those criminals no as. Yeah. I'm hoping the tongue brings the Shaper heat. Oh yeah, maybe. That's what the tongue usually does. I feel like when Shaper is relevant, then somebody probably found a broken combo. I'm really behind in chat. That cannot be healthy. The infinite ganked? Abstractly, no. I mean, it works on centrals too. Yeah, sorry, I say remote server. It doesn't have to be remote server. It just has to be installed in the root of a server. It has no distinction. It does not have to be a remote server. The corp decides whether or not to trash ganked. What I don't get about ganked thing is, why doesn't the runner just not trash it? Yeah, because the corp has to, or can choose to trash it themselves to trigger the ganked. It's the cost of it. Did Onsell do it with wet work? Yeah, that was the other one that Sokka mentioned, that with wet work, Well, on Cell specifically, and this one's a bit trickier because they can always click through the subroutine. So I think this one's less, as much as scoring a Kusanagi isn't like a really strong game plan, I don't think all the time. On Cell is technically also possible because on Cell has the you may install a card from HQ or Archives clause. But if you gank the runner into this the first time, if they have an additional click, they could always click through that so it doesn't fire, even if Helheim Servers makes this, 300 strength or what have you. And then the idea is that you have to attach a lethal subroutine to this. So something like Wet Work Refit will add a brain damage subroutine to a Bioroid of choice. So that is a possibility as well. I like the other one better. I feel like ensuring that the on-cell ganked connects is a bit trickier, but it's not impossible. You can make the runner have less clicks on their turn. Would anyone like a delicious cheese sandwich? I'm lactose intolerant, but yes, please. Lol, I think all their wins are off of Brainstorm. Excuse me, Sansan did... Oh, excuse me, I see what you mean. The new rules also mean that you have to access everything in archives after bacterial programming. Oh, I didn't realize that. Bacterial programming had some really weird rules, where the idea is that bacterial programming, if accessed in archives, can add additional cards to archives. And the way that the rules used to work is that you actually locked yourself into the amount of accesses when the access step started. So the idea is that if you ran archives and there were 10 cards in archives, you have to access 10 cards. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because it's been a while since this interaction was relevant. But the idea is you would access 10 cards. So if the corporation added 7 more cards to archives with bacterial programming, you could choose not to access them. And as long as you you could choose which cards to access and not access. Mind you, the bacterial programming cards would be face down, if I'm not mistaken. But you just had to access 10 cards. It looks like that's not the case anymore. I built a woo list that felt really good, and Greg is good, but I don't think it's as good as the alternatives. I feel like that is a big thing, but I feel like Greg might be the kind of person who will go out of their way to play Shaper, even if it isn't the easiest thing, and to some great success as well. I think Shaper is interesting too, because it has, like, I don't understand, I'll be honest, and we'll talk about the results of Euro Africa's, but I don't understand how 419 has a game plan against the sports metal decks. I just don't understand it. And it'd be nice maybe if someone could educate me before I have to talk about it for a while. But like without access to any sort of destruction, I feel like the Econ Denial is less relevant. I feel like the Miss Bones is pretty good. I feel like Turning Wheel probably doesn't get you there all the time. You don't have Stargate. I don't understand it. How that 419 matchup is like favorable. It doesn't look like it should be. The big thing about sticking the combo is that the runner needs to be unable to re-break Drafter ends out. Exactly, yeah. And the cool thing about the Drafter into Highland thing, though, is like you don't want to pop the high Helheim the first time they hit the Drafter. You wait until they get into the server and then you pop it. So then it's a surprise gank that actually is lethal. And that's actually something that's worth learning, because when we played gank decks back in the day, we did goof that up actually a fair bit. They would run into a piece of ice and we would Helheim servers it when they were just running the server the first time. And then they would just like break that or take the damage and jack out. And I like the idea that you wait until they get basically right before they breach, and then you res a Helheim and then you pop it. I think that's way smarter, because they have to commit to access, and once they do that, then you can fire this. So you know they're going to hit it. The combo works with Monza City Grid or Zaya for infinite creds too. Oh, Connor, yo, that's really cool. As much as I love Monza, I guess that is really cool. Wow, you're right. Infinite credits. Interesting. The next activation can help. Oh, Jessica, that's a good point. Yeah, next activation stops you from clicking through things, but it's I have very rarely seen times where next activation command has been played and someone actually runs, which maybe says something about the strength of this card, but there's very few turns where this has been a problem. Well, excuse me, where this has mattered too much. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe people do run. But the idea with this is you can't click through the on-cell, so it's a bit more consistent. With 419, you just try to get as many accesses as possible and hope the dice rolls your way. Yeah, right? Like, you have no way to deal with Vacheron, so it's just kind of like, hope it's good. I do think the video of me and Rob playing 419 versus sports, and most of the games are close. And the more ice sports runs, the better 419 gets. That said, I think the winner gets very lucky in their 419 versus sports matchups. Yeah, to me, because like it feels like the 419 just needs to get the good accesses as opposed to having like strong cards to help with the board. Right? It's just like hammer centrals and hope it works out for you, as opposed to like, okay, my game plan is to hippo the ice on archives. Or on R&D, and we've seen hippo showing up in max decks now. Get down to Stargate and lock the game, get an early Vacheron, stuff like that. Similar with the Hyobu lockdown, love that card. Yeah, nobody runs Hyobu lockdown anymore. Like if you Hyobu a remote, they're done. Nobody's running it. Which, that seems good. I feel like this card also, like all these cards are a bit more playable with like Lacosta, and Seamless Launch, but we haven't seen a lot of them. I like Next Activation, says Jackson. Reactivates Ice Down by Boomerang and Botulus. It's a really big deal against Boomerang. We actually saw that card like show up into like old PD decks, and by old I mean like 3 months old, before people started playing things like Tranquility Grid. But yeah, it was really cute. There was a lot of Boomerang and Botulus back in the day. It looks like if you look at the and I'm surprised by this. If you look at the meta for Always Be Running, a lot of these max decks aren't Virus Max. Like we saw way more Apocalypse Max. Is this correct? Is this accurate? Then we saw Virus Max? And I'm assuming we were going to see way more Virus Max based off of I imagine we're going to see more German players. But I saw way more from what I watched, seeing just Apox Max. I had no idea CR 1.5 changed the access rules. Also, hey, yeah, Xrn, I had no idea either. I only heard that change by like watching the Continentals, and Sokka was talking about it. Ezra, it's going well. Thank you. How are you doing? So last week we had to cut the stream a bit early. My stomach fell out of my body, and we were in the middle of playing this deck. And we actually I think we saw a lot more interesting and exciting, and people would call them spicy off-meta decks in the APAC tournament that we did in Euro Africas. And this is a deck that we never finished the game with. It is the deck list of the week, so we're going to be jumping into it right now. It looks fun. We talked a bit about the history last week on the stream, how this is a version of old Esmari decks that were called Tightrope decks. And the basic idea is that at the beginning of the game, things looked really clumsy and bad, and you were bleeding accesses, and you had porous ice, and then you were walking this tightrope trying to not lose until the mid to late game, where things suddenly found themselves swinging back into your court, which is kind of like a really nice surprise when you're playing this deck, because the ice is quite taxing. As much as I don't like actually some of the ice in this deck, I'm glad Hydra had a good performance this last weekend, because I would love to play Hydra over most of the sentries in this list. Spicier is probably fine. But this is a weird deck. There's like a lot of interesting singletons that are such a strange surprise. Cards like a single Prisec, a single Seamless Launch. One Hard-Eating News is also really strange, considering, you know, I guess people play around this all the time. But we already have this loaded up, so we can dive in pretty soon. Thoth, yeah, Jessica, Thoth is like, you know, without Data, Funhouse is not as good as Data Raven, so I guess Thoth looks a bit better. But yeah, it's okay. Did you see the new Cyberpunk MTG set announced? Weird. Yo, Xrn, we have a lot more to talk about that, because there is a Cyberpunk MTG set, but we'll talk about the news section because there's some other Wizards of the Coast stuff if you haven't heard. I have died to Thoth, would highly recommend. This deck doesn't have Boom, right? No. So I guess the only way you can die is to Thoth. But yeah, I guess it happens. You just have to go heavily tagged. And I feel like if they're heavily tagged, we have other win conditions. I don't know. This deck made you tilt so hard. Looks like you had to cancel the stream. It made our opponent tilt too. We scored out at like a 15 minutes. They were unhappy. They're actually not unhappy. The copyright stuff? Yes. Yeah, the trademark stuff, exactly. Virus Max is rough against PD given the tech and changes to the deck. Oh, in terms of like people getting off Virus Max, yeah. There was, and we'll talk about this a bit more after we play the deck list of the week, but there was like a bunch, actually no, there wasn't that much more, but like, there was more Jinteki. Like there was actually some Plana Foods. So I imagine there's people on Eigenfusion as well playing that sort of like archetype that classically people say is really bad into those Virus Max decks because they just rely on big ice, and Virus Max decks can deal big ice relatively cheaply, and they can also threaten D-res, which is a problem when you spend 8 to res an Anansi. So yeah, at least you're seeing less of that. So that sort of archetype seems a bit more appealing, as much as Apocalypse will absolutely ruin you. We tilted the untiltable Dan OG. We are having a really fun match there. For example, my 419 versus sports games at APAC, I accessed 13 and 28 non-archives cards respectively and lost both. What's the average number of accesses to win, like 17? Yeah, Sengren's saying 17 and 19 depending on the agenda suites, giving the runner about 50% chance to win. But that sports metal deck is actually really tricky as well, right? Because the value of Vacheron is really dependent on time in the game. So to some extent, accesses on turn 1 and 2 are way more valuable. Thanks, you too. Than perhaps later on. Especially if you're criminal and you have no way to trash them before you're accessing them. So with 14 agenda points, it's way worse. Exactly, yeah. It's a lot trickier. And that's the thing, is like cards like Stargate are so much more impactful, right? Because it's not just getting 17 accesses. That single pseudo access is so valuable. You get information, you get to like reorder things. The Vacheron Archives doesn't fire. Hoshiko gets Link sometimes. This hand is awful. We're gonna mulligan it. That is not that much better. I finally get to watch the stream live. Yo, Cephalopod, welcome. How you doing? Glad you can make it. The 13 card game ended with 2 Vastrons on my score area, only with 1 counter left. I think we saw either this tournament or last tournament. I think it was this weekend that the runner had 12 points or even more, maybe in their technically in their scored area, and still lost the game. It's buck wild out there. Okay, Hoshiko. So where do we want the funhouse? I don't love this card. Eventually, this thing's not that taxing to break because they will get a link. We can't really score the Quantum Kitty behind it. We are Reality Plus, mind you, so we have a smaller deck and the tags are much more relevant. So we can sometimes dump 2 credits into the IP block and get a reduction. I think we're just going to put this on HQ, this on R&D, and then click for a credit because this is really slow and expensive. We can also always draw first. I'm not sure what we're drawing into. It's probably just like a sure gamble. I don't know. This is probably better into Stargate. I just don't know how fast we have to go. Like, I think once you know the deck more, you know whether you should be drawing more or just stabilizing your economy, because I'm not entirely sure how much econ we have. And that is 3 credits a turn. So if we're going to play an economic war, they get 3 credits per turn down from turn 1. We are not as favored. Oh, that would be way better for R&D, specifically because this we want to score QPMs behind. I think we misplayed that. Econ now can marginally help in the matchup. It's, I don't know, it definitely can marginally help, right? But the idea is that, like, you know, Audacity don't care. Okay. Mouseless on the remote's probably fine. If they like boomerang this or botchless this, it's fine for us. The version keeps the match playable, but isn't as strong. Yeah, it's nowhere near as strong. 419 is way down in sports, but up against literally every other deck. So I don't want to score this. I think we can hit this and then just double advance here. Again, they're getting a massive amount of value over time. Oh, we could have scored this. That's fine. If they go through this ice, DreamNet, they definitely want to run. And we probably want to ice up archives because they're going to get a credit and a card draw when they're flipped with the link. So that's bad. Most annoying ice on R&D versus Stargate. It really is a big deal. There you go. They're running here. They're going to access a card because we played a hedge fund. So Hoshiko's now going to flip. Deuce is wild to gain 3. Mouseless here on server 1. They might consider running. No, they're just going to run archives. They don't want to hit any of our ice. And it's a Citadel. I think we're in a bad spot. As Lethus is going to fire, I really wish this was a QPM. They don't have any breakers here. We can technically stick a tag. I think, no, we have to pay so much money. So it's gain 2, draw 2. We hit a turning wheel. That's really good here. Man, if that was the QPM, if we were braver, we definitely should have done that. So we can gain 2, draw 2. If we gain 2, I think next turn we'll push this. I'd rather do that. We can always push into the tags and clear this. I feel like this is going to be a really big card for the matchup. Because they can clear it clicklessly. I like that YouTube thinks you're streaming a 1982 arcade game. Yeah, Netrunner doesn't show up on anyone's list. This is a good exchange. They flip before the Citadel? What? They flip before the Citadel? Part of my concern with the Vastron ban that does need to come is that 419 will be unbeatable. Yeah, that specifically, like, that sports metal deck was built to target the idea that, you know, it looks weak. That 419 is, you know, a weakness. Or sorry, that it can beat 419. So I hear you. I think we just want to put the cat in here. We can get a credit differential and we want to ice up archives because if they run to get a card and a credit, we're going to be in a really bad spot. We need to make sure that every server is like slightly unrunnable. Just ban Turtle too? To some extent. I don't know. It's like, yeah. Turtle is abstractly a really good card. It's obviously really good with 419, but it encourages aggression. It makes you want to ice up everything. It does some really good things for you know, the game. But I hear you. Why doesn't the ban list just unban some IDs? That would shake things up. Yeah, I'd argue that's correct. I don't know. 419 becomes really difficult if equipped with Stargate. What do you mean, Daijin? Also, how's it going? Play games with Captain Nice's Swift once and it's super fun. I dropped the FTM money for a draw though. I don't know if I saw that deck. Nice wasn't playing Sunny. I think that's the only thing I remembered. Just double advance everything's. I want Matee back, but I don't want to play against Skunk Void Matee. Yeah, it'd be a bit much. And look at this. This is so much absurd value. It's so much value. 1, 2, 3. Like, we have to be jamming, and they're just going to give us this. It's a public trail, which could be pretty detrimental. We can draw one. Now, this, if anything, just looks like a Rashida, which they're probably fine with us doing. Swift, Wanton, Hoshiko. Wanton's actually, I think, a really nice meta decision against Sports Metal. It's really disruptive. It's not bad against PD2. The seamless launches are in hand. Like, what are we meant to do here? DJ Fenris, like, how greedy is this? And it's just an IP block. Ugh. I think drawing there might have been bad because we can't jam somewhere in this deck are the breakers. That's the best thing we got going for us. Is that they don't have breakers. Yeah, Steve is back as a DJ Fenrisable ID. Really, really powerful card, especially when they have all this drip economy for like playing run events. So we're going to see like a boomerang or something. It's Keiko's finally coming down. That's another credit a turn card. So like, I don't see how we're going to ever make a credit differential. We really need them to just like goof it really bad. And sometimes this card lets them goof it, but with Citadel Sanctuary, I don't know. Scored. That is spicy. Because next turn we can do advance, seamless, and then actually trash a resource. I think trashing the DJ might be okay. Stargate allows even more info for 419, and deck that relies on not caring for the 419 ability are usually not equipped with good ice. I see what you mean. Okay, y'all, are we trashing a resource? And which one do we trash? Do we trash the Fenris? I feel like we might have to trash the Fenris, but then we're like probably trash Citadel. That's probably better than this. It's also likely only to be a one of them deck. They have no breakers. But if we do that, that's like all our money. Oh no, because we gain 2 credits. Yeah, well, trash Citadel makes way more sense. And now they actually have to clear the tag. Not that 31 credits is going to be a struggle, but like they're not doing anything because we're not jamming anything in the remote that matters. Like we jammed these, which unfortunately they were not running. You want them to run on these. So, oh, cool. Okay. At least that's relatively expensive. Citadel's 3-click turn a drip. Just about. And like, what do we do? What do we do? I don't got any good ideas. We need to feed them one of these so we can, like, in theory, do an exchange play. Like, I think that's the only thing we got. I think we just put a Bologna out there and click for credits. But, like, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 credits a turn. Click for credits and throw HHN away. I think that's pretty accurate. Oh, cool. Spooned. Well, there goes the Mouseless. Well, they have to trash this, which we're fine with. It's done its work. Right? Because this will be the first code gate if they want to break it. Right? Because the only way that they can break it is with Ngolo, so this will get trashed. So that's actually pretty good that we keep the Mouseless, because it is a bit more taxing for them. They jacked out. Does this deck have Econ? Well, we can't stick a daily quest at this point in the game, but yeah, sort of. How's it going, Jester? Click odds. Hey, Andre, nice to see you. 3 credits versus a 30 credit runner doesn't seem fair. It's not a great feeling. Dreamnet, draw a card, get a link, 2 credits. We have to, well, we should shuffle that back. I think we're just going to put this in server 1 credit, and I think we're going to shuffle this back. Because in theory, they could win off of a single Bologna. I don't think this list runs more than 1 Bologna, so maybe that's fine. And the Funhouse is nice in front of R&D because it protects our last Quantum Kitty abstractly. We can also play this for them to lose 8, us to lose 4, but we need money for that to be a thing, so we're not going to do that. Yeah, this is good. They actually spend money on it. They probably hippo it, though, so now we don't have a remote server. Sick. We will res it. Will we pop it? Yeah, I think so. We have some good targets here. So we picked 2 back. Massless is our most taxing ice, I think. Like, how bad is the thought going to be into this thing? So I think we just do a hedge fund and the Mouseless, maybe? I feel like they can run just about anything we put in the remote, so I don't love the seamless as much. Oh, it's Stargate. Oh, okay. Okay. And the hippo means that the funhouse is not going to last for very long. They also only break it for 3 credits on a tag. Ugh. Well, at least if they want to go through this, we'll gain 2 credits. But like, our board state is absolutely terrible. You're going to need to stack more ice to tax them out. Taka Keiko is a really good run engine. I don't think we have the ability to do that. We just don't have the economy to res the ice. Let alone like, we're going to flood. Wait, did they not hippo it? I thought they played a hippo. Oh, they undid it. Okay. So is exchange of information Prysec spin doctor, and they trashed the Prysec. That's because it works pretty well against the Stargate on R&D. Well, no, it doesn't actually. Why do they trash the Prysec? Because it's only when they access this, and Stargate doesn't access cards. Interesting. I did not expect that. Now we can just go put a funhouse on top of R&D to slow them down, because if we don't res it, they can't hippo this ice. I think that seems necessary. We also probably want to draw once into the Spin Doctor, because that is a very valuable card against a Stargate. You do need to protect the funhouse next turn. Yeah, hippo 1 per turn. Yeah, for sure. No, we want to put another ice there. I'm worried they're just going to hippo this, though, and then just get like Steve Cambridge value. Like it's not going to be good for us either way you slice it. We could also play this for 4 and they lose 8. Otherwise, we would exchange of information to get to 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So like this actually is very interesting. And then you could even do that into hard hitting use at some point. So I think we need to do draw 1, install this on R&D, put this in a remote server, and then we can get rid of some cards here. I think we want to get rid of both foods. I think they're safer. They're not safer in HQ, are they? But they have no multi-access so far. We hit the turning wheel. They have no more cards in their stack. Wow, they only have 5 cards left. The DreamNet actually does give them a credit, though. So I'm going to keep 1, and I'll keep 1 exchange. We'll hope that's for the best. Okay. So we're going to shuffle back some stuff. We'll shuffle back that, and I think we just need some more money. I'm going to do the hedge fund, unfortunately. Next turn, it looks like we're doing credit hedge fund, which isn't amazing. It's going to be even worse once they run HQ. Yeah, there you go. IP block, luckily, though, is pretty awful for them to break with Angolo. They do have a paperclip, though, so that will come in for 7 credits, but their economy is slowing down. Admittedly, they're going to play an event this turn because of Steve, so they're probably going to get just 2 sure gambles here and then gain 7 credits. 8 with Keiko. So not great for us. No hedge fund, exactly. So we know their hand is a hippo. We could do some maths. Deuce is wild and Deuce is wild. I'm surprised. I guess that's for the tag removal. That's not that bad still, right? Remove a tag. They want to play it this turn, though. Oh, they're spooning HQ. Oh, they're spooning this. Huzzah! At least we will get our funhouse credits. So we should be able to play our hedge fund. These are 3 unknown cards. They took the tag. So they're going to Deuce's Wild last click, which makes a lot of sense. Just jacking out. Not accessing because they can't Stargate alongside Spooned. And so we'll just go ahead and strap the Turnpike there, but then we can't hedge fund. Okay. Okay. Honestly, we might be able to do something here because their economy is slowing down a bunch. This Steve thing is a problem. That's for sure. So I think we just want to do install R&D HQ, and we'll be at 1 credit, which is not good. They'd have to pay basically 1 credit to get through this IP block. I think we need to protect R&D a bit more. He's going to offer 2 spoon next likely. I think you're right. I think you're very correct. Yeah, spoon recursion is going to be a nightmare. Interesting. Not great. I think the market forces makes the least sense here. Where's MCA Informant when you need it? Oh, man. Yeah, well, they would just trash something. But yeah, putting it on this would be so good. So it's a Stargate. If we res this, they'll lose a credit. Seems like it's something we can't afford to do. So we're just going to let 1 Stargate access here. Again, we can't lose off of this because there's only 1 balloon in the list. The agenda suite is not what you think. Ping mouseless NGO front. Wow. Trashing the NGO front. Really not wanting us to have any credits. They got a spooned. Okay. So they're spooning in. Now they do have to break this now with Angola, which is pretty expensive. It's 4 credits. So not the worst, but they are going to get a Steve trigger. They are gaining a credit as well from DreamNet because they're digital. Citadel Sanctuary and the turning wheel. Oh no. We're removing the turning wheel from the game. Citadel is okay because we don't have meat damage. It allows them to clear the tag, but we don't care about them clearing the tag. We care about them having the tag because I think the way that we're going to win is like with public trail. And so far this funhouse might stick. I don't know. This is actually really interesting. I feel like we're going to lose to the turning wheel. Interesting. What do y'all think? I feel like this is going to be a problem. The Citadel is like a huge economy card, right? If they're going through the funhouse once per turn. Like the funhouse once per turn is it's an absurd amount of value here, right? They clear this for saving a click, let alone saving 2 credits. It's free. They have Stargate anyways? Yeah, Terrence, I know. But they work together. Currently finding HQ. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You're right. Like, we're going to lose the Stargate sooner than we're going to lose to the turning wheel. Okay, so we know 1 card in hand. So we could click for 3. I think we want to just click for 2, install this. But we want to be on 5 credits. Funhouse is really expensive. I think we just click for... Man, we could like bankrupt them. We just want to get more money. I think that's the most important thing because eventually we're going to be able to do public trail into hard-hitting news, which is going to be a 7 credit play. Can we do credit install ping on HQ? I think we might want to do that. Another time Funhouse is depressingly expensive. It really is a fair bit worse. Maybe if we have this, it's good because if they Stargate into it, we get 2 credits. I don't know. This is also like resable. Because we res this for free and then it eats a hippo. I think that's nice. It also eats a spoon. It's actually kind of a bad res though because they bounce off of it, but they're just going to bounce off of it anyways. Do we want them to bounce off of this? Do we want them to bounce off of this? They can still bounce off of this. Because we res this for free, but then they have a bounce target, which seems like a problem. But then if they're bouncing off, they're not getting Steve? I'd rather protect the mouseless. No, I don't think they're going to bounce. I think they're going to try and get accesses because they have so much value with Steve and DreamNet. But they could bounce off of it. They still could, even if we don't res it. Like, that's a problem. So the position of this is not amazing. See if they run last click. If they run last click, you're right. That is actually fascinating. They do know what this is, though, because they saw it at the top of the deck. Liberated. Oh. Piss. That's bad. So it's a Stargate here. We could, in theory, res the Turnpike. We would be down on 1 credit. I think next turn we just do credit hedge fund. Like, we have to weather the storm here. Mouseless quantum predictive model hedge fund. And the quantum predictive model will be behind an IP block. So they trash the QPM. I don't know if they're going to pick it up this turn. It's kind of risky because if there's a ping on our archives last click, it would be a huge misplay. So they'd be on 3, 4, 5. So if we do credit hedge fund, we can't shuffle the 15. And I don't think we want to shuffle because we know the top is a hedge fund. So I'm just going to do this. And then we have to hope that we survive for 1 turn. But ping in theory is a threat, right? Because running last click into a ping is a problem. The Citadel helps them heavily against that. Okay. So this is once per turn. So they bounce off the funhouse. We buy ourselves pretty big breathing. And we're going to be on 6 credits. Which is enough to do credit public hard hitting, depending on their credits. Hedge fund, Rashida, mouseless. Okay, that's huge. That's really good. Imagine they trash the mouseless or the hedge fund. There's no way they trash the Rashida. Yeah, there you go. Hedge fund would be a really good top deck there because we do hedge fund into the other 2. 10 credits. Okay. So if we do public trail, okay, we have to think here because they didn't access a card, so they actually don't have a link. So if we hit public trail, they generally pay 8 credits, right? So then they're down to 2, and then we could do credit into hard-hitting news. It totally bankrupts us, but I think it's possible. If we had 1 more credit, we could also exchange of information. I think that's a play, right? Am I missing something here? I don't think so. What about if they take the public trail tag? Then we'll be on, then we start trashing stuff. And then we exchange. Yeah, this is fine. All right, we're riding the tightrope. I think we're understanding the name. It's now or never, probably. I think maybe 1 more turn. But yeah, this seems like a really good spot. I just wish we had 1 more credit, because then we could do exchange into hard hitting. But we're short. This is an interesting choice. So it's either lose 8. Oh, they lost 8 credits. That is huge. So we'll take the money. We'll exchange, which puts them way off the game. And then I think we trash a resource. Are we trashing the Liberated, or are we trashing the turning wheel? I think we're trashing the Liberated. Kill Steve? I don't know. Feeling Anxious is a good game. This is a really good game. We're going to go down to 2 credits, which is a problem, but I don't think we trash Steve. Steve is going to be a problem, but Liberated is just 12 credits. I don't know what's the right trash here. I'll be honest. 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we can win off the 50 minutes if we shuffle it back in. Like, we could also just shuffle this back in, and then if they run through the funhouse, we draw 2. Trash Turning Wheel or Steve, they have no cards. I think we trash a Liberated, because we still have credits for the ping, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Go see if they can get back with you, trash. That actually is a good point, Litterbug. Yeah, maybe that not trashing the recursion card is like just strictly wrong, because they can just recurd it. Do you have QPM in the deck? We have 1 more in archives. Okay. 2. Yeah, you're right. This is a bit unfortunate. They're just gonna bring Liberated back. We could res the ping, which would be free. It'd give them something to bounce the turning wheel off of. Man, this Steve has been really powerful. No, I think we have to let them in. The ping, we're on 2 credits. I think we want to keep the ping to some point where maybe we get this back in the deck, because then we can top deck and win, because we're on 7. Or on 6, right? Turning wheel, DreamNet. Nothing to draw. Spooned or spooned? That's not good for us. Rashida and Mouseless. Okay. Okay, we have to res the Turnpike here. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because they can just let this fire. Maybe that was a mistake. Yeah, they can just let this fire. I think that was a mistake. We should not have res this. That's on me. Yeah, that was a mistake. I thought they'd have to break this, but they don't. They had the one MK Ultra there, so they're firing the subroutines. Yeah, so they're just gonna pay 5 for this. It's technically 6 actually, because of the Turnpike as well. Isn't our place once per turn anyways? It is, but we haven't got it yet. Oh, they're just floating the tag. Interesting. So this is gonna get rid of the Mouseless. This is still a pretty good ice. We're just gonna gain 2 because we need money. I'm surprised that they didn't pay 5 there. It is once per turn, so this is not gonna both fire. But now they're going tag me. We don't have boom. The hard hitting news is less relevant. We don't have psychographics, I don't think. A second EOI in the bin, yeah. 1 more EOI in the bin, but the EOI doesn't do anything unless they steal a 3-pointer. I don't think our deck has any 2-pointers. Let me just check. Tiltrope Ismari, no. Yeah, exchange isn't going to do anything unless they need to steal a better agenda. So what we can do here is we can actually trash something. So we can, the QPM is safe. They have 2 tags. So like, I think we can trash the DJ Fenris. Steve this time. Why is QPM face up? Because they trashed it with Stargate. Yeah. Yeah, I think we kill Steve. Feels bad. Now we can click for 2. I think we actually could consider shuffling this back in, but once we have 2 credits, because we can get a draw when they run through the Turnpike. Because we basically just want to do a burst draw as well. Oh, they cleared the tags. Okay, so now they can deal with the QPM. They're still going to lose a credit here. And honestly, it's worth throwing the hard-hitting news. It costs us 1 credit sometimes. Like, specifically right now, it's going to cost us 1 credit. Hedge fund NGO sync BRE. Where are the agendas? So we have a couple options here. So they trashed the sync BRE, so we're drawing it to hedge fund. Okay. So things we can do. They didn't access a card, so we actually could throw 4 tags on them. It doesn't do much, protect a single QPM, which is amazing. They're poor enough to consider hard-hitting news. Yeah, sort of. Like, if we do credit, hard-hitting news, we can make a trace 5. That will land. It will be on 2 credits, and they'll be tag buried. At that point, there's not much we can do with the tags. It just protects the QPM. I think if anything, we just do put the mouseless and R&D credit. Because, like, we just need to hold off here. I think how do we win is shuffle the 15 minutes back in and draw it when they take a tag. Like, that's the best we got. Again, tightrope. Funhouse will stay there if you trash Steve at first. Not sure I follow. Yeah, I think we need to stabilize here. We can't give them an open Stargate. So if we res this, they generally break it. They have Taka, they do boost. Oh, we'll res it, I guess. And then we just do credit shuffle that. Right, like now they don't have a lot of money. NGO ping Rashida. They are building turning counters. Their economy is a bit busted. I think they're going to go HQ here. Okay, so they're going for the QPM. I think that's reasonable. They still need to steal 2 more agendas though after we shuffle the 15 minutes back. Oh, Hippo. Ooh. They've no more resources. It's all the drip economy. And Mystic Miami's trashing itself. There's no more events to play, so that isn't a big deal. Credit. And I think we will shuffle this. Because if they do take a tag, which I don't think they will, we could draw it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they're just going to... Oh, they're going to Hippo this. So it's now 3 new cards off the top of R&D. So I think we put the ping there because it draws 2. So it's a food and a spin doctor. So this is interesting because I think you just trash the spin doctor, then you run back twice. Yeah, you trash Rashida, steal the food. But then we're going to draw an unknown card. So it's a 1 and 8 that we win. Oh, yeah, they have turning wheel counters. Never mind. Woo! 4 points. They still need to steal 2 agendas. Whoa, wait. They have to steal every agenda in the deck? No. The 15 minutes. Oh, it's a Thoth. Yay, it's a Thoth. They said. Res for 7? Ugh. Well, hey, we'll do what we have to do. This can draw us 2 if they run it, which they probably do. And then we'll, yeah, mandatory draw, won't get anything. So we'll res here, and we'll draw 2. Looking for the 15 minutes, we got it. If we can keep this in hand and not lose this turn, we will win. They're putting the paperclip down. It's a bit expensive. No agenda. Daily quest public. Daily quest. Okay. So they could start smashing HQ here. This is once per turn. So if we res the ping, we don't get value. We did it. We had a plan and we worked on it and it paid off. Dang. Oh, good game. That was quite the game. That was our only out. Like, we had no ability to build a remote server. We had nothing. And if we buried them with tags, okay, no, that's not true. Our only other out in theory was getting that last spin doctor, which is too late now, and then having an exchange of information play. But they could have, they could have built up turning wheel counters. I think they had a lot of opportunities. I don't know if they ever at one point like clearly misplayed. I'd have to watch the review. The Biz is saying that they misplayed. I'm not actually sure, but they had a lot of ways. Yeah, that was really fun. 63 clicks gained, 63 credits. Man, that was wild. I closed the chat, the box, but that is exactly, I think, what the tightrope is meant to be. Like, things are looking really bad, but then there's, you know, these opportunities to capitalize. Yeah, you too. And that being said, like, we had when we were on very few points, we had very little ways to score out, right? Like, they needed to fall into the exchange of information public trail. If they just kept their economy up and didn't pressure us, like, how were we going to score out? So I think what they were actually meant to do in theory is like nothing. It's just like set up, click for credits, and wait for us to put something into remote, because the amount of time we would need to put something in the remote, res that ice, and then also protect HQ from like Stargate plus Stargate from R&D and Turning Wheel and DJ is just absurd. It's way too little, too late. So I think that maybe if they played way slower, they'd be fine. They had a lot of bad luck on Stargate runs. The deck does run very few agendas, right? Like the deck does run a lot and very few agendas. Like at that point we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 agendas out of the game, out of a deck that runs very few real agenda points. So I don't think it was actually that far under curve of what they should have expected, but it didn't look good. I don't know as they made mistakes exactly. I could maybe slow down at times. Yeah, I think slowing down might have been a pretty big deal. They've spent too much ice destruction on HQ2. Probably should have just kept pressure on R&D. I don't know, because the HQ pressure was like really relevant. It was super relevant because of Turning Wheel and Fenris. Like Fenris is just, I think, exactly the value they needed to survive over time. Oh, that's no big deal. Yo, Cactus, how's it going? How many people right now are just practicing? I reckon a lot of people are. Dano. Janet needs emojis. All right, it's Val, 50 cards. A lot of things you're expecting when Val shows up. You're expecting that there's going to be a rebirth into Omar, so Archives has some value. Apocalypse is pretty hot. Our opening hand, honestly, like, not the worst. I wish we had something that ends the run to put in front of Daily Quest, but I don't think any ice in this deck ends the run on its own. Nothing in this deck ends the run. So, oh, no ping. Okay, no ping. I'll take that back. I don't know whether we can stick a Daily Quest behind a Turnpike. Maybe it's a bad exchange, but we'll definitely keep this hand. I should really practice. Terrence, do you know what you're playing? By the way, if we didn't say this, you have the next 5 hours to submit and to enter the Nice Continentals, the championship for Americas. It is up here on their website. Hit that button. It takes you here. I think registration closes at 3 p.m. No, 3 a.m. I think it's tonight. It's like 3. It's midnight on the west coast, so it's in a bit. All right, do not want that agenda there, but what can you do? Val can be scary. I think we actually just pushed this out. Where do we want Thoth? Ugh, what do we do here? Do we just go slow? Do we just do Thoth R&D this on HQ? I think so. Okay, let's go. Ice Remote installing Geo in advance to be an early Eternal Apocalypse is something you gotta respect. All right, this is technically a really bad combo, right? Because Val pays 2 credits to get through this with a bad publicity. Don't love it. They also know what this is. There's a chance they might respect it. We can draw once to see if we get something better. Actually, that is kind of interesting. But I don't love this. We want Thoth in the bin. I haven't even signed up. I completely forgot about Continentals because I haven't been paying attention. Are you signing up tonight? Yeah, you see, this is awful. I don't think this is the right play, and I think they call it out in the deck notes. Like, this is not good. Right, this is bad. I'm vaccinated now, and we could start doing pub Netrunner again. But numbers here are terrible. It's pretty scary, but I'd love to play again. That is a bummer. Things are getting better. Some places, you know, it's gonna get a bit worse before it gets better. But playing in person is a heck of a thing. So it's really exciting to see that come back. I'm looking at decks and making decisions about Continentals. There's a lot of information to go off if you look at the last couple Continentals, so it's easy to pick a deck. Best of luck, eh? All right, probably a bad play. Daily Quest does seem bad in such a porous deck. It's something that like you set up later. This like is an obvious NGO front, but I don't know what else we do. We need to get our credits up because we can't res any of the ice anywhere else. Gachapon, kind of nice, right? You have a big deck. It's easy to get something out. They're doing it mid-run, so they can also use their bad publicity, which is amazing. It's another just drip economy card, so we have to go faster than slower. Oh, unused MU. What is this? Mining accident? Uh-oh. Amakua? Whoa, wait. We could react to this. Hold on. Sorry. As soon as I saw this pop off, I was like, we need to res this so that we have money to that. I'd pop that as soon as I saw the one RFG'd. Yo, Macaroni, how's it going? because as soon as we saw this, like they obviously are playing 3, so I would pop that as soon as they made it like a weird run in archives. Is that cool? Well, you did have a window for it during the run, yeah. Well, after the run ends, I have a window before you take your next click. There wasn't a lot of time to see the RFG cards. Yeah, so in theory, like as soon as they RFG cards, like they slam the button really quickly. Admittedly, I'm talking as well, but as soon as they see these two, I'd res that. There's no reason for us not to res this at this point. I mean, since you didn't use it during the first available window, it's reasonable for me to guess you wouldn't use it on the next one. I don't agree with that, right? Like, because the idea is you don't know how soon I see this, because I saw this only for like a half a second before it came out. Because as soon as you see this removed, I'm gonna res that and pop that. Because you don't have to do it during the run, because there's a paid ability window before they take their action, in theory. Because you have to wait and then say, like, do you want to do anything? I'll pay 5. We can't give bad publicity. Our ice is way too porous. A lot of it is tracing. The reasoning isn't sound. Yeah, I don't agree with that. You're going to gain 6 credits. You're not going to draw 4 cards. They have good money, and we have Bubkiss. So this is 7 to res. Oh my god. We're going to ice archives and click for credits. All right, this kind of assumes that they'd be on Angolo. They also probably Keiko, like something that gives a lot of MU. I'm scared if they'd be on Ma or something like that. But maybe they just play Amakua and that's it. We beat Anarchs when they have terrible money and they have all the money. Yeah, I'd be more worried about criminals, honestly. Man, a single diversion would absolutely destroy this. What just happened? Oh, they just popped a Gachapon really quick. To shuffle Rebirth, Amakua, and Ma. They're on Ma. I didn't even look at the last one. So they are on Ma. That is a problem. Because if they get cheap accesses, they really hurt our hand. And like, this is the problem. Like, I don't want to score our global food initiatives. Spending 5 credits to just get points at this point in the game on our board state is really bad. We could draw once, and then we're really hoping to draw into Rashida, Daily Quest, Hedge Fund. I think that's all the economy we have. And Geofront. So I'm just going to click for 3 and hope. Assuming your opponent's behavior is borderline nonsensical, at least in this situation. Yeah, I don't know. For them, I think it might look a bit different because they're looking at their cards for a long time, and there might be a delay between we see them, what they put out. Oh, they have all their breakers. Okay, so now they're really going to start running. I don't think they're on Apocalypse. If they're playing Ma and data folding, how are we going to score behind a single IP block? I don't know. But tune in later to find out. We know 3 events. Like a simply 3x? No, there's no way. There's no way that you play data folding, like this late game drip economy card, and then you rip it up with Apocalypse. Let alone other things like Salsat Slums, Amakua. Well, Amakua kind of, but no, I don't think so. I mean, you would rather exchange for the GFIs? Yeah, I would. And like, we kind of just want them to steal these a lot of the times so that we can exchange them. This is not that expensive for them to break. Again, they pay 2 credits to this with bad publicity. This can be kind of annoying. Like, that's their best case, but I'd love to jam more of a QPM here than anything else. Turnpike on HQ is not going to hold, but putting this here is like kind of, it just looks bad. We need to score a 1-pointer so that exchange is like relevant, but I don't know. I assume they're trying to reroute. Just seems like bad faith assumption, but yeah, digital. Yeah, it's tricky on digital. That came off the 3rd Gachapon. So they have a political operative. I don't think that's relevant in the matchup. Falsified. So yeah, they have Amakua support. Daily Cast Knife at a worst. They've gone through half their deck. Career Fraying down a Liberate. Just an absurd amount of money. Not much we can do about it. They're going to start hammering centrals. Let's score a Bologna. Once we res this, we go down to like what? I guess this is free, but it forces the paperclip. It's actually kind of nice. Hippo, Ice Carver. All right. Run HQ. Oh, we're running here. Okay, well, the ping is nice. If they hippo it, I don't think we mind. Gain 2 or draw 2? Honestly, I think we're going to need the money because we're going to have to spend 4 on this. It seems like an APAC list. More. It's just definitely a reg list and like a really greedy late game reg list with things like Ma. But their economy is all data folding. Like they don't seem to be running companions. Okay. This is now actually a lot more approachable, being 4 strength. The Ice Carver does a heck of a lot against Mouseless. And I just wish this was, oh my god, if this is QPM, this would be such a blowout. Nice. They have a tag, so they actually bet to break 2 subroutines here. I think they're going to have enough money, though. Elliot, hey, Andre, long time no see. How do you have a P.O. box and made some custom CNC machine IDs and giving out to tournaments and friends? Let me know. It's 60601 aluminum copper finish. That sounds amazing. I don't have a P.O. box, but Elliot, can you throw me an email at Metropole Grid? That's awesome. Do you know what they look like? Have people seen these? That's so cool. Oh, why not? You have the money. Okay, so they can steal this. They can liberate it, but we do have a public trail play here. They didn't steal it because they have to clear the tag. Are we building something tonight or playing Cont list? Not actually sure. I think we're playing Continental lists. Because I think it's more important that we know what those decks are going into the tournament. So ETR on ping. Maybe. Okay, I guess we score this out. It's good money. Yeah, Elliot, I don't have a P.O. box. I don't have my personal address, which I think maybe is a misplay. Be greedy and public trail liberated? At this point? Oh, I don't know. To some extent, like public trailing, I don't know, we public trail the data folding. I just want to score this though, so we get enough money to defend centrals, because they're going to run centrals. I kind of like double public trail, I'll be honest. Are you gone for the lib too? You really think so? Yeah, maybe it's safe in there. Yeah, I think you're right. I think in retrospect, you're right. How much money did we have? We had 5 credits, so this is only 2. We're down to 1 credit. I don't know. It's mixed. What's your business email? I can send you some pics. Yeah, it's just the name of the channel. It's metropolegrid@gmail.com. Appreciate it. This one's always cheeky. Okay, so they didn't run, can't public trail. So it's either we score at the headline, which is genuinely pretty good. I'll do that now. Appreciate it. We can get the Rashida in there too, which is kind of nice. I don't know what we want to draw into. I'm okay with them running through this. I'll just do this and click for credits. I'm like waiting for the Stargate to come down. Or even the Maw will be really disruptive because we have to hold the public trails, let alone all these agendas. Falsified. Guessing asset. So they missed the 5 credits off of this. They do know it's a headline, so it's not going to trip them up. And this card is actually really easy to trip people up. Trash on Rashida to bait the run. I'd rather them let us have this and be on game point. If we draw a seamless launch here, oh my god. Could have been so good. I think we're just going to give this. We score this for only 1 credit. Right? Like, that's good. And they still have to clear the tag. We have to discard something here. Oh, public trails seems really good. We want to give them a food and basically get this scored for free. I don't know how they're going to get a tag running us remote. Like, we really need to get this behind a funhouse. We don't have a funhouse there. Ping into this actually into archives is fine. I think we're going to do this into archives because it's safe behind the ping. Pitch a food. I'd rather pitch this, right? Turnpike honestly is just annoying enough. They break it for 3 credits after refund. That's fine. They don't have a turning wheel here. I don't know how Canada Post works, but usually you can have stuff delivered to the post office itself for pickup. I think there's a fee though. There probably is, but that's likely a good way to go. Oh, they hippoed that. That's okay. No further actions. They hit the Rashida. That's a bummer. I think that's the 1 card we would have put the remote here. Paul up. So the Rashida actually gets a lot worse against political operative because you can deal with it. I think we'll put this in the remote. Just click for 2. It's technically game point. We could advance it once and like really make it look like we have a seamless launch. I kind of value the money though. But like Resing Thoth is going to be so bad. Like trace 4 for 1 damage and they lose 1 credit. Ugh. Isn't it ping on cards? Yeah, but if ping gives them a tag and then they access the QPM. So we get it, right? Like if they decide to go through it. All right. Installing the orchestra. Trashing the MK Ultra. Oh, right, because of folding. Okay. Imagine raising Thoth. Oh, you're to get hippoed? Yeah, right? At least he only res it for 5, sort of. And like, we have 8 credits, so we can do, once we hit an exchange, we can do public trail into hard hitting news. Well, we need a bit more than that. I think we're taking the bad pub here. I don't think we can go down to 3 credits, can we? Yellow. Interestingly, they can pop this as soon as we res it, so I don't know if we want to do that. Right? Because we could res this and then they can pop it immediately. Technically, we could res it and immediately use it. I don't think we really want to. Called general delivery, something to look into. Thank you. So this is a bit tricky. 17 credits again. Beta run and use it with your priority? Yeah, we could. We could. Maybe that would be better than giving the food here. I think you might be right. Because they would run. It looks like they would run this regardless. Nice. This is a pretty big cred swing. Just kidding. It's not. Yeah, we really need a... Oh, that's something. That's actually interesting. Oh, no, it's not. They pull up. That's fine, right? Interestingly, if they do this during a run, they actually can pull up during a run and use the bad publicity to trash a daily quest. That's kind of fun. Damn, kiwi fruit are delicious. Kiwi are quite good. Okay, hold on. We can think. We'll pop it. We have a window there. We have priority there. So we'll do the funhouse, and I think we'll do the NGO front. Actually, no, the turnpike's pretty good. People who don't eat the skin are just wrong. I don't know if I agree with you on that. Some bad eyes could be fixed by swapping their strength and risk cost. Thoth is not one of those. Is it money or draw cards? It's gonna be money. I'd be way more scared if they had 13 credits plus 4 cards than 19 credits. Because they have to draw for cards. They've played very little card draw. What board games have you been playing lately? I've been playing a lot of Flesh and Blood. It's not a board game. I think the last board game I played, we recently picked up last weekend, Cascadia. And it's made by the same producers that did Calico, and Calico has been a pretty big hit in my family, and that's a lot of cat people in my family, mind you. But it's Cascadia, I think I like way a fair bit better than Calico. Still no Maw. Yeah, and Maw is going to be a problem. Speaking of a problem, what's their multi-axis? I think it might just be entirely Maw. We can draw once. That's a card, I guess. I think we just need to get our economy up again, because like we can do public trail into public trail. We just need 8 creds for that. It's pretty normal to not eat kiwi skin, but it's surprisingly delicious, though not as great as texture. It tastes like eating a tennis ball. They guessed agenda, so they know what this is. They don't have to run it. Okay, that makes sense. Do we res it to make them use their pull up? Yeah, I think so. Mouseless is not that annoying. It's a 4 credit swing. Funhouse technically is a bit more relevant. How many hippos have we seen so far? We've seen none. Okay. Interesting. We do need them to goof something up. Zendorius, hope you're having a great week. I am. How are you doing? Thank you. What do we want? The 15 minutes would be good. That'd be a way to win. We haven't drawn an exchange yet. Put this on, I guess, on R&D. And I'm going to res this. They can definitely pull up it. Like, they have no need to run it. We've seen one hippo. Oh, it's in the removed. Yeah, I know, you're right. We did see a hippo. I never checked the zone. Thanks. Thanks, Chris. Got to play RL this week for the first time in months. Felt great. Heck yeah. Was it like an event or just at friends or enemies? That's really cool. And like they're getting 3 credits a turn and we're not forcing them to interact. So this is, but they didn't pull up that. Would you look at that? Oh, right. Funhouse. Oh. Yeah, that would be a mistake. Maybe we wanted the funhouse on the remote to protect the QPM. Pub runner with friends. Heck yeah. Okay. They need to break the subroutines if they want to hippo it. So that comes in at 5 strength. So we res this for 4. They have to install their MK Ultra. They have to boost twice. First gets a 3, then gets a 5. So it's 3, 6, 7, 8 for them, 4 for us. Seems like a trade. There's a maw though, so we can no longer rely on stuff. In theory, if they actually hit the QPM into archives and run archives, maybe we actually throw out the QPM and then they check archives. And they could really goof it. I'm gonna res this. Pub runner is indeed great. Yo, Parallel, glad you had fun. I'm envious. Yeah, in theory, they could check their modifiers and steal the QPM from archives. Yeah, right? So this is interesting. Access 1 fewer cards. Does that matter for Maw? Yeah. I wonder what the new rules on that are. Yeah, so they actually did pay a lot of money there. They access a seamless launch. Okay, and they trashed hard-hitting news. We're making still good money. I think we do draw throughout the QPM. Draw. No, draw. Oh, 15 minutes. No. Yeah, we want to score this out. Okay. 7 credits beginning turn. All right. I used to play Maw Magnum Opus builds. No big deal. Oh, fantastic. We'll res the turnpike here. We want to score the 50 minutes. That's our next turn. If you draw another fun house, you can just win by scoring the QPM yourself. Yeah, technically yes. Public trail, Bagot. Okay, trash the public trail. Trash the food. So that's actually kind of scary. Now they really want to hit HQ. I can't believe they're not trashing this. They have no tricks for this. We can no longer do double public trail, but we could play this to lose 4. They lose 8. So they'd be on 6 credits. We don't have a hard-hitting news, so I'm just going to score this. But we might just lose to the Maw. The thing is, like, when they run archives, they choose the access order. So if they do access with a tag, the QPMs, they can steal enough agendas if they like Maw another agenda or Bagot another agenda first. We use if they run archives now, we can't tag them. Yeah, hopefully the ping. Like, the play would be... Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It would be like run the ping, clear the tag, run back. So they'd have to goof it. They haven't seen a QPM yet, though. But they might know what we're playing as Decklist of the Week. So we lost an NGO off the top and the hedge fund from hand. So that's a bummer. Ugh. Shit, y'all. We need to jam an agenda. We need to draw a spin doctor or an agenda. Nice would be okay too. I'm going to draw once. That's what we need, but we can't guarantee we're going to keep that for any amount of time. This is kind of useless. Put Rashida in the remote to drag them through it. Rashida, they don't care because of the pull up. But you're right, it might be better than putting nothing in the remote. How many falsifieds have we seen? We've seen 2. So we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influence here. 7 on Amakua. We saw 8 that they're on, what's it called? On Rebirth. 9 for Paul Up. Could be a 3-2. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, okay. We have a seamless too, right? I think they've seen it. They'd have to respect a lot. Yeah, there you go. That's a problem. Falsified. They guessed agenda, so they probably don't run Rashida because they have Paul Up. So they don't care. There's very few agendas they care about. In theory, a Sand would be a problem because they can't react to Paul Up, but they're just going to start smashing here. We lost our last public trail and a hunting grounds. Oh, this is when you res the size. Sick. That's a good one. Does this list have spin? Yeah, it has 3. We've RFG'd 1. I'll res this. Action? Yeah, totally. All right, so they got rid of that. That's fine. We'll draw it once. So this now is like not good. They break it for 3 for an icy spin for 5. Not amazing. I'm just gonna play that. In theory, we want to keep the exchange of information. Is it a Gmail account? Yeah, Elliot, it is. Can't see it in a keyhole? Really? That's weird. It should be. Was happy to let the EQ sit and dissuade you from scoring. That's fair. We couldn't have scored. Again, the drip is like such a big deal. Like you just need to go fast. This is so hard to contest. 3 credits a turn. Like what? I say that having in the remote. Whoa, what's going on? Having a seamless exchange. They're gonna deck us. Like I think they just never run. I'm gonna say GG. I'm gonna say GG. Oof. Gain 2. Oh no! Gotta watch out! No! They didn't buy our GG. Shit. Draw 2? No, draw doesn't matter really. They respected QPM. That was the only out. So you can show it on stream if you want, since it's just a template. Yeah, that's super cool. Waiting for the bait there. GG, you got it. Just go ahead and access. That was miserable. 153 credits, 56 to 63. We're still clicks to credits equal on every match we played so far, but we had no chance. And I think a big part of that is just like the agendas we might have drawn in the wrong order. I think we definitely could have jammed more accurately or more aggressively into the remote server, but we needed an early QPM, something like that. And I think like scoring behind the funhouse seemed good. They did have a hunting grounds way too late. Give them, are you sure? Thanks for the game, eh? But yeah, just like we're not doing anything fast enough, and maybe that's on us. So like we lose the drip economy. You can show on stream. Yeah, I can't really pull up my email on stream though. That's the only issue, Elliot. So we'll do it next week, because it's hard for me to pull my email and dig through it. I don't want to do that on stream exactly. You can send BN. I want to install until I have hunting grounds. Oh, for sure. I think they could have just hammered HQ. I think you just hammer HQ and UN. I don't know if you even need to run archives. I send a mate. Hey, cheers. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things I don't get. It's like, I feel like against a runner that has a lot of economy and just sits back. And I think that was the problem with this deck too. It's like, you saw on stream against Sokka, I think specifically, like just sitting back, getting money, not interacting with you, and then just apocalypsing like that. Like we have no play against that. Nothing. No. There was a food in there for a bit. Or no, I think the food actually got mod or begotten. Wait, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think we had it. And this, like, I don't know. Like, this is the sort of thing that, like, is, to me, kind of forces the hand, right? Like, if this is the sort of, like, late game economy that you have to deal with, why not play Sports Metal, right? And, like, this deck has some tech against Sports Metal. I think specifically it's just the Maw. We didn't see Keyhole or Imp or anything like that. I guess to some extent, Paulop also does some stuff. But, yeah, that's it. Like, data folding looks really bad against Sports Metal, let me tell you. Have you tried a Rig Shooter outfit deck that made the top 8 at APAC Continentals? I don't think so. Hey, cheers. I don't know. I tried it this week. It was fun. Let me check what that is. We're going to do some news right now, actually. So what did I want to do for news? We have a bunch of tabs open. There's actually some really interesting news. Looking at the deck list, though, it was the outfit, right? Who was playing this? Yeah, we played Cannon Rush. That was cool. Wanted still legal? Yeah, totally. Order and Chaos is still around. Where is the list? I guess we could go here. News? Yeah, there's lots of news. Salem's outfit. Oh, Rataj. Yeah, Rataj has really fun decks. Double Arc Lockdown I think is really good for the meta right now. There's a lot of max, and that deck is actually really easy to target out. You see people pulling Breakers, pulling Labor Rights, pulling Claude, there's a lot of strong options. Corporate Troubleshooter I think is an underrated card. People are not playing as much Botulus. Boomerang is still, a big thing. We saw this deck though like struggle trying to stick a Roughneck Repair Squad and have a really slow play. I think I remember one game with that, but this looks really cool. I think we also saw Rototurret see some play in some of the like rushy decks last weekend, which is kind of neat. But yeah, this is cool. I think Salem's Hospitality is actually like pretty good. What you can predict. Like this is so strong against Labor Rights, Max. This is so strong against Apocalypse decks. Like when they have it. And if not, you can always go peek. Go to head to bed now. Yo, Jessica, thanks for dropping by. Get some rest. Too big to fail Trojan horse also can be a pretty big deal. Now the issue with some of these sort of things as well is like if there are a lot of anarchs running imp and destruction, like it's sometimes hard to hold the right operations. But this looks really good. I don't think we saw Magnet do a lot, although we did see less fire smacks compared to some of the other options. This is cool. Have you played Tag Me Crim? I haven't played any of the Tag Me Crim, and we started seeing Tag Me Crim. I kind of like Tag Me Crim. I never like playing a deck that just has such a bad matchup if you just play against like Wayland damage, and there isn't a lot of Wayland damage. But I think we're seeing a lot of just like criminal decks that are just running. Like I know Eric was playing it, right? Is this one? No. Is this? No. But they were just running like, you know, the package for the tag package. So things like what's the one that makes you access a lot of cards based off how many tags you have? I don't know the name. Zaya Talking Thunder. It's gonna be something like this, right? Yeah, counter surveillance. Here you go. This sort of package. This sort of package I kind of really like because this gives you teeth specifically against the sports metal deck, right? Because the sports metal deck doesn't have time to trash a rogue trading. And these sort of decks, we used to see decks back in the day that ran dummy box and ways to protect their assets. Mind you, Wireless Net Pavilion did just rotate, and as well as Paparazzi. So these decks are way more killable if you're playing against meat damage. Like a high profile target will get you through Obelisk. That's for sure. You won't survive that. But a lot of the like faster HB decks don't have the time or money to like trash rogue trading, stuff like that. So this is really cool. And then you have like really strong HQ pressure cards. Hot Pursuit is an Axis, which is really good in this game. You need to get those Axes in this criminal. You still don't have a lot of multi-axis outside of the counter surveillance, but you access counter surveillance the top of the deck for 8 or 9. You're in a pretty good spot. What is a good Shaper deck now? Is there only APAC Shaper? Daojin, the deck of the week was called Stealth Punk. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was a smoke deck that ran Clot. I like that deck a lot. I think that deck has a lot of legs. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think Smoke. We also saw, was it also Rotage? Was it Rotage also playing a Shaper deck at APAC that was a Fear the Masses Tau deck, and it made it to top cut. But I think it's a lot easier to play against that in the top cut with open deck lists. But it's still really fun. Like you saw some really exciting games, and I think he had a lot of really close games regardless. Yeah, Giles played Stealth Punk list, did really well at APAC. This sort of idea, right? Like a stealth list, which is good because Smoke is a lean deck. She sets up fast. She has a draw engine with Net Mercur, which is really nice. And then you have cards like Imp, which are really important. This deck ran Miss Mant. Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking something else. And then you have Conduit, which is really quite good. Yeah, it's good. Nendorius, it's really fun. And Anacom, mind you, is just such a fun Shaper card now that you do have a really strong package of events that you're playing more and more in Shaper as opposed to like the sort of resources. Like seeing a competitive Shaper deck with 4 resources is something you haven't seen in years if you've been playing Netrunner. But cards like Jailbreak are really good for the modern meta where the early accesses are so important. Generally, they don't ice up both central servers, especially against Shaper in the early game if you're playing against a Precision Design, an Asa, or a Sports Metal. And Jailbreak draws 2 cards, accesses 2 with Onicum. So good. I don't even know what Wu does. Like, I don't know why you'd play Wu, because like the old Wu decks that were pulling out like, what's it called? Pulling out Rizeki's turn 1 for the whole turn 1. Like that is not gonna be good anymore. It's way too slow. So I think we saw Stealth Wu as well, if I'm not mistaken, at the last tournament. Thanks for this. When working 80 hours a week, I'm underwater welder, so it's a tough schedule and sleep schedule too. Yo, get some rest. I'll check out the email. I'm really excited for that. Stealth Punk is good versus PD, but not sports. Wu is the opposite. What does Wu have that makes it good against sports? I'd be surprised. I honestly don't think Stealth Punk is that bad against sports, but so much of it is just like jam out your imp. I guess it is slow, right? The idea is that like if you need to contest an early drafter, like no, you actually don't need any stealth credits, but yeah, there's a bit more setup and there's a bit more pieces that aren't like on tempo good. Let's talk about some news. If it isn't obvious, this weekend coming up is the Continentals. It is the America's Continentals. You have another 5 hours to register, a bit less than 5 hours if you want to get involved. Hit that link. It's about 15 American. There's a lot of prize support, participation prizes. If you make the top cut, you play more on Sunday, and there's a lot of nice stuff to win, and then an invitation to Intercontinentals, which is really cool. Nisei events have been fantastic. Ask anyone who's been participating in Continentals this year or last year. They run a really tight show. Even if you don't fancy yourself a competitive player, I highly encourage yourself to get involved in organized play. It's how you meet people. You get paired against somebody who is doing just as well as you over time, so you won't get blown out if you don't fancy yourself a competitive Netrunner player. On top of that, it'll be streamed on twitch.tv/Project Nisei. Go ahead and hit that bell so you know when we're live. I'll be streaming it, but I won't be streaming it on my channel. I will be streaming it exclusively from Project Nisei. They gave me the keys to their castle, so we'll be streaming it from there. So hit that button. We'll be going live around 10:30 Eastern, maybe a bit later on Saturday. So check that out. And then the top cut will be the following day. Again, it was European and African Continentals the prior week. So all that stuff is up here as well. You can check it out. The streams are really good. Okay. On top of that, just ask a question because I'm going to be streaming it. Are there any pet peeves about streaming and watching events that you'd be happy that we can iron out at this point? I think things that we're going to try and focus on is we're going to try and make it as clear as possible, especially if you're a newer player, to make sure we're highlighting as many cards as we can. We're going to zoom in as much as possible. So I think we're going to do that. If there's something specifically that you'd like to yell, let me know. I will consider it. Give me relative time. How far away is 10:30 Eastern today? Wait, what? How far away is 10:30 Eastern today? 12 hours? Because it's like almost 10:30 at night right now, right? So it's 12 hours till 10:30 a.m., you know? I wanted to enter, but I'm visiting family this week, so I can't. It's a bummer. Enjoy your family, though. That's generally a pretty good thing, too. If you don't imp a Vashron with smoke, you lose 9% of the time. It's very draw dependent. I believe that, but I think you want to very aggressively pull out the imp before you start accessing, because you can refresh that imp, I think, a fair bit. I guess you got 3 Temple chips. The idea of being able to summon Imp, Stargate, Conduit on command seems great from Woo, but too expensive to manage quickly. You actually can't summon Imp, Stargate, or Conduit with Woo. Well, you could, but you have to summon an SMC first, because you can't summon viruses. I'm busy on those days. Will the VODs be available for viewing? The VODs valiantly will 100% be available for viewing. They will be on Twitch. The Project Nisei Twitch page only holds them for about a month, but I'm pretty sure, and I can't promise that, but they've been doing it for the other events, that they'll download these eventually and get them up on their YouTube channel like they have for previous events. That's my hope. I'd be really bummed out if that wasn't the case, but they'll be here for at least a month, and then you can watch it with the chat, and you can watch it at 2 times speed if that, does you well. Only have to get up for 2 a.m. for this one. Wait, so Metrograde, you're streaming, not playing, or both? I am going to be casting both of the days, so I'm definitely not playing. I'll be casting along some lovely guests that Nisei has booked. We'll be casting all of it, so it's a lot. And I'll be actually running the stream, so I'll be also like mixing the cameras and showing deck lists and doing all that fun stuff. So there's a lot to do, but we'll be there. My only peeve, streams without scoops. I have been not told about any scoops. I'm hoping we hear any sort of scoops. Net cooker. Speaking of scoops, y'all heard about this? Because this is weird. So this came up 2 days ago. Y'all hear about this? So Wizards of the Coast is the company that originally created, developed Netrunner, the CCG, the TCG, whatever it was, that came out in the mid-90s. And Android Netrunner was a reboot of that FFG got the license from them, and I never remember the name of the Cyberpunk people as well, and they made their game. And when Netrunner got canceled from FFG, it was due to a license renegotiation that fell through. So right now, Wizards of the Coast, just 2 days ago, put a trademark application for, if I'm not mistaken, Talsorian, thank you, for an intent to use Netrunner. They have a year to do it, from my understanding. I don't understand trademark law. I've been reading a lot of comments and discussions about this. And this is a registration intended to cover categories of downloadable electronic games to be used in connection with computers, console game devices, and wireless devices. This is wild. I have no idea what this means, but Wizards of the Coast is doing something with Netrunner this year. Or sometimes they just pay the money so they have it. There's been some conversations whether this is something that they're just renewing, because it kind of lines up with the 10 years. They have to continue to renew it. But from my understanding, at least according to the person who posted this, I'm assuming they have a bit more understanding of trademark law, that they actually have an intent to use. I don't know what that means. That's wild. On top of that, they, on the same day that this happened, MTG, Magic the Gathering, put out their showcase talking about what's coming up in the upcoming year. And what's the name of the Kawagami? I don't know this. Kawagami. That's Cyberpunk MTG set, whatever. We'll find it out. They also announced a new set, Kamigawa. Sorry, I look ignorant. We'll fix that. Could be speculative. It's going to be wild. Yeah, I don't know. So they also announced alongside it a new set that, from my understanding, revisits. Oh, please don't play things. Oh, you're playing things. This is not good. That revisits an old part of MTG, of Magic, and they're revisiting it, and it's a cyberpunk theme. And by cyberpunk, I mean the aesthetic, not like cyberpunk from Cyberpunk, the role-playing game. I don't know whether that means Netrunner is going to show up in this. I doubt it, because there's already a lot they're working with, but they're doing cyberpunk stuff, which is pretty wild. Again, I don't know if it's related. That dropped on the same day, but regardless, it looks like they're doing something with Netrunner. Translates to River of Gods. Oh, super cool. Thank you. Will you be able to show the game logs while streaming? A pet peeve is when players scroll and back and leave so that you can't see subsequent moves. The game log will always be at the present point. We will scroll up if it's irrelevant, but it will not be like not moving. I wonder if you could make Netrunner scale well as a tablet phone game. Would be awesome. Play anywhere. It definitely would be. I think so this is really interesting. A lot of people have strong opinions about this. Whether somebody is doing something with Netrunner in like the big commercial space is potentially a concern for the Nisei folks. I have no idea what that means for them, whether they're worried about that somebody else is working with the same idea, whether there's going to be some sort of conflict there. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Also, people are thinking like, oh, Netrunner coming back as some sort of like, you know, CCG booster box attached card game. They're going to sully my game. Like, I don't know. I have no idea, but this is so wild. I don't know. I don't have any expectations of what this is, but like something is happening. On top of that, obviously Cyberpunk 2077 is a thing. I don't think that was a huge success as expected when it came out. Whether they're working with that, it is also worth knowing that the dude Lucas Litzinger, who was the lead designer on originally for Android Netrunner, also now does work at Wizards of the Coast. Again, I don't know what that means, but like there's some weird stuff going on here. The trademark looks to be for digital, no mention physical. Yeah, Power Guy, you're right. Like it very specifically says of downloadable electronic games. So imagine that's a digital space, which makes sense for Netrunner lore wise. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Weird. Super weird. C277 was a huge success if you only look at it financially. It made its money back. Yeah, it was definitely a huge success financially. Okay, this is another thing that I guess we can talk about a wee bit. Earthborn Rangers is a thing that questions were asked about this a couple streams ago. This is basically a new, I don't know if living card game is the right thing to call it, but it's made by some of the people that worked back at FFG on some of the other living card games that I've played and enjoyed. Trading goodwill for money. Yeah, unfortunately, I guess it looks like that. I was asked if I had any opinions on this. I have since played it. I have played 3 games of this last week. If we want to talk about it, let me know, because you can play this on Tabletop Simulator. The mod is available. You can play it. Some people have problems downloading it for some reason. I think it's because the images are hosted on Dropbox as opposed to Imager. If you want Hearthstone Netrunner. There was actually a really cool post on our Netrunner. If Netrunner was a digital game, what cards would you print? Because there's a lot of like things in Hearthstone that specifically only can exist in a game that's digital. Things that like produce random cards, stuff like that. That's really cool. So there are some things that are inherently cool to be digital. Anyway, I played this. If you want to talk about it, like we could spend half an hour. I can open up the TTS mod, teach you how to play, talk about my opinions on it, because I have a lot of opinions on this, it turns out. I don't know if that lines up with anybody. The Shut Up and Sit Down folks interviewed the developer on their podcast was an interesting listen. I haven't heard that. I want to check that out. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Good? It's a bit more nuanced than that. There's other filing. If you check Wizard of the Coast, you can't find it. You can find it. It registers Netrunner for card games. Whoa, really? Do you have a link, Jackson? Yeah, Magic is doing digital only for like the 3rd time. What do you mean? I know MTG Arena is a huge success, and I think that game actually has like a separate errata list and maybe even a separate card pool than paper Magic. Are you done playing for the day? No, definitely not. This looked really interesting on TC stream. I've heard mixed things. Some people watch the TC stream and are like, wow, this looks a lot like Arkham. And then some people really enjoyed it. I watched it. I was like, okay, this looks a fair bit like Arkham, that I didn't understand the difference. I backed for $5 to keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's worth knowing that this Kickstarter is closed and they did very well. I'm not sure what their pledge goal was, but they definitely hit it. They also really cool about this game is that one of their pledge goals based off of region-based pledges is that if they hit enough money in certain regions, they are pledging, I guess, to produce the thing locally out of more sustainable materials. And it's a game that deals a lot with nature and sustainability and exploration of nature, which is a fascinating theme. But the idea that like if you're buying this in North America, that the stuff is going to be printed locally, saving off freight, and like it has less impact on the environment, which is really cool. Art looks nice. Art looks really nice. One thing that was, I think, shouted out by the TC people, and I don't know if you can see it here. You see it a slight bit. Man, I love this. When art breaks the frame of the card, you see like the hand here actually clips, you know, it overlaps the top. Same with the tail on this pupper. Big fan. They just did a big release arena, which includes digital only cards. Yeah, okay, there you go. They are just about to release Hearthstone style digital only for arena. Wait, what do you mean? MTG has digital exclusive cards in arena. They did it in the 90s with the Chandelar as well. Ooh. Digital is really good for draft formats. Yeah, digital is pretty good for draft formats. I imagine it's cheaper. You still have to pay to play, you know, which technically doesn't make sense for digital, but I guess the game's free. Leading into the Hearthstone, acquire random abilities and persistent effects. All copies of cards, regardless of location, get affected. Okay, that's cool. Okay, anyways. We're going to get sidetracked a really long time if we want to talk about this, because there's a lot going on in this game. I think I have a lot of opinions. There's a lot of things I like, and I think there's equally a lot of things that I didn't understand and didn't like. It is a year away from release, so a lot of the things that I think people might complain about can be changed. So no big deal if you've backed it. But I think Maddie and I sat down and played it, and I don't think we enjoyed it too much. Hard to disagree, at least if we're talking about an arena draft. It's pretty controversial for the MTG community. Huh, interesting. Okay. Short form, is it worth it? I don't know. Is it worth it? Depends on your money. I think one of the biggest problems is that, at least for me, like I didn't back this, is that it's, I don't know. That's the problem. The conversation on this is going to be so long because there's so much to talk about. Because this game is really interesting. The idea is that like, it plays in days, and it's meant to be a narrative-driven game that's about exploration. So like there's no hard failure states like something like Arkham, so that you can go in it and just have a good time. You actually can play it with no objectives. You can just wander as like some RPG across a sprawling map, going from location to location, talking to people, doing stuff, and interacting with the world. But also, when we played the demo, there was like hard goals to do. Somebody was lost. We basically had to find clues from locations, very much like Arkham, and find the person. And yeah, Maddie and I were struggling because everything we were doing was putting us back on that clue hunt. And we spent 2 hours and largely accomplished next to nothing. Maybe we played poorly. I played the game since, and I think played more optimally. But when it comes to like me, where I look at this game and want to play it as a mix of somewhere between Gloomhaven and Arkham as a min-maxer that's going out there to like do something, I feel like this doesn't tickle me the same way that those other mentioned games would. So I'm not sure. Admittedly, it's very early. You're seeing very rough of what it's meant to be, is a very small slice of it, a vertical slice as they call it. But there's a lot of systems that are very similar to Arkham, and the exploration and like the beauty of it and the narrative aspects of it, I think, are my favorite part. But the rest of the systems didn't feel like there was anything pulling me more interesting than Arkham. So I don't know. But Andre has a map. The map's actually really cool. The map is really cool. Just more general saying, it's really easy to do a random draft when you don't need physical copies to have a complete card pool you can randomly draft from. Yeah, random draft is cool. And it makes less garbage if you don't care about the cards. Anywho, check it out. It's on TTS. There's a mod. You can play it. I think the rules are actually a bit more complicated than Arkham. I think a fair bit. Does it look like it has potential? I honestly don't know. I don't know. This is like, this thing looks really, really nice. I get why this Kickstarter succeeded. Really good names. I recommend you to try it out. But like, I think there's a lot of parts of this. Man, I don't like shitting on other people's stuff. I played this and I think I bounced off of it. I think I was intrigued by it enough to like play it a couple times. I think I'd want to play it in a year to see how it's changed. But it is a thing that I would happily go to friends and try out in a year. That's for sure. But I'm not sure what it's going to take for this to be considered a success. Because with LCGs, you buy the core set, you buy into getting like regular support, regular product. I don't know how that works. I know there's more campaign packs and stuff for this, but maybe this is going to be a really cool standalone thing. Maybe this doesn't have to be like, you know, the next LCG that you're spending so much money every like quarter or whatever on. Is it still in development? Yes, it is. It's going to be released, if not, I think mid of next year in 2022. And they actually have like, what's it called? A tracker that says like, okay, rules development, we're this far, art, we're like barely anywhere, which is fair. There's a lot of art to make. There's a huge world. And then like, there's some other thing in the middle. There's a tracker, I mean. Rules wise, I mean, did you play the final rule set? I think we have. I think there's a lot of things they can tune, and they're very like transparent about it. Like they specifically say when this game starts, you draw 6 cards, no mulligan. And then they write, from our testing, so far it's not been necessary. I don't know if I love games that you can't mulligan, I'll be honest. But maybe that's part of the theme of the game. You just have to roll with what you got. Again, you don't have to min-max this game, right? But, you know, those sort of things rub me the wrong way. But I think I'm asking the wrong thing from this game, maybe. But they said that they got their link to Netrunner card game trademark filing. Oh, I don't know, Jackson. Maybe you can't post links. Uh-oh. I don't know how to remedy that. YouTube blocks links usually. I think you try to paste a link. Anyways, try it out. Let me know if you want to talk about it. I'd be like really excited. Maybe next week when Continentals is over to we can open on TTS and play. Let me know if you want to do that, because I'll do a quick rundown. We can teach you how to play. We can talk about the cool things. This is a lot of the cards on TTS don't have art. There's a lot of placeholder art, but like I actually really like this art style. I'm into it. Oh man, the finger going over there. 9 out of 10. No mull's never a good feeling. It's not a great feeling. And this game has really, really bad card draw to it, generally. Unless you're really good at soothing fatigue, I guess. I don't know. Art clock down. Do you know Neon Dynasty is also doing its super colorful future that's kind of utopic cyberpunk flavor? I don't know about that. I know that there was another set they announced that's like a very colorful, like classic 50s sci-fi thing. I saw that as well. But I know very little about Magic in general. Okay. All right. What are we playing? It is. I phrased that poorly. All good. No, it's all good. Utopia plus cyberpunk is just cyber. Yeah, I guess that's right. That's true. The punk and cyber means the dystopian thing. The neoliberal so-and-so. So let's talk a bit about, I just closed it, but we can talk a wee bit about Continentals as of last weekend. We talked a bit earlier in the stream about the distribution. I don't think there's huge meta shakeups from what we've expected. In fact, I think there's parts of the meta that people might be kind of upset about. Like HB. HB is by far the most performing. More than half the field is HB. In terms of the runner pie, we're looking at Max and 419 being the most presented. I think at APAC, it was 419 that was the most presented runner. And now we have Max actually taking that lead, followed quickly by 419 into like Hoshiko, I reckon. And so this is what it looks like. Wayland was way less represented. APAC had a lot of Wayland. I think Wayland and HB were not that far off. We also see a bit of Jinteki sneaking up. I think it's like half PE damage decks and then just a bit, equal amount of Piranha and a bit of other weird stuff. I feel like Socratic with Trubies are well documented. Now, when you go to the top cut, this is, I think, the part that like kind of stings the worst, is that is not a pretty looking pie. It is just all Max and only 419. And this is a bit of a bummer. I'm hoping to see a bit more shakeups into the weekend, but I've never seen a top cut like this where there's only 2 identities represented since the days where CTM was the only thing you could play. Like, this is a bit rough. And you see a lot of those matchups. And while I say this, I want to highlight, and looking at the corp size is not that much better, that sports metal specifically, a lot of the sports metal matchups, while it might be tiring to see sports metal over and over again, not only are they usually fast games, they are pretty exciting to watch. Maybe that's just me. And a lot of that has to do with that the axes are like so important and so exciting to that extent because the game isn't very long and there's some like really potent axes in that. It's more about that. It's more about interaction than maybe some of the like, I don't know if you ever watched GameNet back in the day, right? Where it's just like, I'm going to click for 3. So that's kind of cool. On top of that, sports metal is also kind of exciting because if they draw the right thing at the right time, there's some like really wild plays that they can pull off. But it's on the corp side, sports metal and precision design. That's more sports metal. We saw no ASA make the top cut. And then 2 NBN decks and Acme Consulting, which is a really weird deck. It's an interesting deck. I think it's the one that also ran Anoetic Voids. And then Controlling the Message, and that's actually the one that won. Out of this, rising from all of the HB, the winner actually was Django84, playing a CTM with Hydra. This is a list that's actually, it's fascinating. And then a 419 list that's actually not that far off from what Rotom is playing. And let's look at what these are. I may have missed it, but I didn't see any Hivemind Max. Is it over? Macaroni, a lot fewer players were playing the Hivemind Max. I can't recall, but I'm assuming Pincel was, and a lot of the other German players might have. I think Tug and like Lost Geek and MGP and Chris Ferg as well, maybe, were running APOC. I think that's what we saw most of, is just good stuff max with Apocalypse. You play your economy, you eventually draw into your breakers, you labor rights back in what you need, and you go off for that. Terrence, what's this list? You want the list? They're here. Oh, huge. Thank you. Let's play Test Andre's flag knowledge again. Yo, I can do better at this one, I'm pretty sure. I feel like the meta is always going to look like this until they remove the binary "are you playing APOC" problem. I do really agree with that. I am very upset seeing Apocalypse. There are so few decks I feel like that can deal with Apocalypse, let alone 419, that this is kind of the corner that we're crushed into. The fact that every deck can just run Apocalypse and it's not that big of a cost to it feels weird. Again, that card is only 3 influence, which still makes no sense to me, being one of the most impactful cards in the whole game, let alone flavor-wise. So I don't know. I think back in the day, the designers might have thought, trash your own board. No one's going to do that. And then they did that. Let's open the deck list. CTM is always good in any meta. I don't think that's true. And I'm actually surprised that it was that successful. Check it out. That we escaped DDoS after DDoS has been gone for a while, and APOC has still been very good. So let's look at some lists here. So these are just the top 8. So looking at MGP, the sports medal lists, not too much has changed. A lot of the sports medal lists over the last 2 weeks have been playing a bit more ice. And the ice suite's actually interesting. You're seeing Hagens come out. Sometimes they're just playing vanillas. You still have Gatekeeper and Drafter. We saw some other interesting things. Sometimes it's Magnets, sometimes it's Roto Turret. Good stuff. And I think the other big change, we're on 3 Biotics, 3 Audacities, and Arc Lockdown. Arc Lockdown is done so much classically, or excuse me, the last week. And that's because there's so much max in the field. If you Arc Lockdown a Clot, the game is so much easier against Shapers, let alone against the Anarchs with the Simul Chips and the Max. Let alone you can deal with labor rights, you can get rid of Apocalypses. There's so many targets. People will play Tempo Arc Lockdown, just get rid of Breakers, jam behind it vanilla. Like, that's good enough. Aaron Moran says hi, yeah. I think we saw some good competitive play, but very little differentiation in decks. Yeah, DMR, I think that's a really big point. Like, the play was good. The play was exciting. The play was fantastic, but it's just a very narrow part of the game that's being explored right now. And I don't think that's at fault of the runners. Like, I don't think, like, it's the stuff that's good right now. It is what it is. The Agenda Suite on Sports Metal, it's ludicrous. On the Max side, like, this is what you're seeing more often than seeing Virus Max. I don't think I can zoom in. I can't enhance. I can enhance. Okay, let's enhance. So you're seeing it. This deck ran amped up. I think we saw some max lists also running from the Ashes. Maybe that was Sokka as well, but amped up is a good tech against border control, Crisium, unless you deal with that stuff. 3 Apocalypse, a lot of gas, a lot of economy. We're seeing a lot more overclock as specifically a way to get your breakers out for free. That's really nice. We're seeing 2 Clot. I think there's a chance that we might see Max with 3 Clots coming into this weekend, which I don't think is wrong. Because Arc Lockdown is a strong thing. You want to make sure you always play it. People are actually like just playing Clot against Sports Metal. Like, generally you only see Clot as a reactionary play with things like Simulchip. People are just playing Clot because it forces the Sports Metal to pay 3 for CVS or Purge. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Otherwise, we have a single Stargate, and so many of the matchups against Sports Metal are how soon can the Stargate show up, because Apocalypse isn't that strong. It really isn't that impactful. This is Rotom's deck. Running the 1 precision design in the top cut. I think this is the Crisium deck with Anoetic Void. We played something very similar to this just as the deck list of the week, I think 2 weeks ago. So it's very close to what you've seen before. A single Spin Doctor is kind of interesting. Yeah, that's strange, isn't it? But I guess you need the Anoetic Void, Crisium, border control. This is a really strong remote if you need it. I like Vault and STS. Pay 2, gain a turn. And Slay the Spire? What's Vault? Oh no. It's a complex problem though, because the corpse side is largely horizontal. APOC is a safety valve. But that's the thing, Power Guys, like, APOC isn't even the safety valve against horizontal. We're seeing APOC just destroy anyone who's playing like the honest vertical play, right? Like, we've seen this like last year at Intercontinentals, people playing GameNet, like people playing the most quintessential dirtle, you know, build 3 ice on every remote server, on every server, excuse me, play. And that gets absolutely destroyed by APOC. Because as soon as you bring out everything, they have nothing. Admittedly, those decks aren't good at jamming and forcing you into the remote server, maybe like the Precision Design deck. And this deck, I think, is way more tuned against APOC. But yeah, I don't know. Pay 2, take another turn. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. Now, this is one of the 419 lists. running 3 diesels. You know, the diesel's looking a lot better than I've had worse right now. There's not that much damage going on. Save that credit. Otherwise, I think Rodum talks about the deck list saying the most luxurious cards in this deck are the single jailbreak, and I think there was something else they called out. The deck only runs a single daily cast. We saw 2 Mist Bones do a lot of work. This is really good to trash the early, what's it called? It's the early, Jeeves is. Most of the 419, sorry, most of the sports decks are not playing things like Marilyn or Nico anymore, but trashing the Jeeves on tempo, trashing the Tranquility Grids are pretty good. I don't think there's anything too spicy here. This list is actually running 3 on Makua. I think the other list is running 1. And I think the only other interesting thing to shout out here is advanced assembly lines, which is actually really cool as tech. Not only does it fire things like Tranquility Home Grid, if you do it right, which is really cool, but it's actually a really good tech card against specifically Apocalypse, because they can run one remote central server, run the second central server, you pop advanced assembly lines, and then you attach a Crisium Grid to the third remote server, a central server, excuse me, and then they're in a really bad spot, let alone sometimes a border control or a void if you really need to. It's really cute. I think that's kind of nice. I like that a lot. And this is a cool list. The Tithe. Fun. Otherwise, I think this is just, oh, this is Virus Max. So Tug actually, excuse me, was playing Virus Max. So the Hive Mind Max. I don't think there's anything too spicy in this list. A single Clot. Good stuff. And then this Sports Metal, 3 Audacity, 3 Biotic Labor, a single Arc Lockdown, and some good Rashidas. Cool. All right, this is Django. Django 1, and there's some really weird lists here. This is controlling the message, running the AR hand security list, and then if you look at the assets here, this is fascinating. We saw a lot of lists running 3 Amani Sanai classically as one of the best things to play against Hive Mind Max, bouncing the Hive Mind. That's less prevalent in this tournament, so down to 2, still a very strong card. And I think the other weird include here, or the lack of inclusion, is Daily Business Show. And I don't think we've seen a competitor controlling the message list without Daily Business Show for the last, how long has controlling the message been out? Which is pretty wild. That card filtering is really important. Maybe without that, again, you paid 2 credits to res it. This deck doesn't have a lot of burst economy. It's actually playing 2 hedge funds, and hedge funds come in and out of this list. It does have the predictive planogram. It does have some vast advance, Mumbed Virtual Tool, and Prysac, and it has some good tag punishment. 2 boom is a lot more than you expect. This deck doesn't have the filter draw. 3 Harding News, and the planogram for a single tag punishment is really cute because a lot of times people will float a single tag. The Ice Weight's also interesting. Funhouse does not show up here. 5 credits is a bit too much, but Double Hydra is amazing. People aren't expecting that. You res that for only 5 credits if you have the credits up front, and otherwise in single Enigma, you gotta love it when you're jamming in a remote server because people expect things like IP block, something you can trace through. Well, it's just a nice ice. Planogram is just to draw cards, to be Beanstalk is fine. It's just fine on its own, but as if they take a single tag, this will help you get to your boom and afford it. It's really nice. This is a surprise, right? Like, Apocalypse can struggle against AR enhanced security. A lot of the max decks are not as aggressive of interacting with the board in the early game compared to things like Hashiko that kind of want to run and have Link eventually and might have more run-based cards. The Anarch decks don't have that as much. Also, I think this 419 list and the other 419 list did have Citadel Sanctuary, which is so good in the matchup, but drawing it is dependent. And I think the other thing we can shout out about this deck specifically is that it's only running a single Amakua, which is a heck of a card in 419, but it is running 2 mutual favor. So the idea is that you can get to it a bit sooner if you need to. I was also running Unity. This is a change that we saw, I forget what tournament we first started seeing this in. I think a Fight Night was the first time that we saw this all in competitive lists. But a lot of people were playing classically Amina, which, mind you, Amina is an install for 7. Unity is a fair bit cheaper, albeit for influence. But when you want to be aggressively contesting things like that Enigma, you're not forced to inside job or boomerang. So the Unity is taking that spot right now. We saw Miss Bones do a lot of work. Seems good. I'm just so surprised that this deck can win against Sports Metal because it has very little multi-axis. It has 2 turning wheel. That's it. I don't get it. How's it happening? It has 2 turning wheel. 2 turning wheel on singles. Am I missing something? No legwork. No DECKLISTS pass. That's it. And yet it's just putting out of enough pressure. Just dropping that Amakua mutual favoring and just running everything. It's so wild. It's getting late here in New York. Hoping we can get research this later on YouTube. Great content as always. Oh, cheers. Enjoy your evening. Heart of the cards. Yeah, right? Like, it's so surprising. Would restricting Apocalypse to a one-off be healthier? I don't think so. I really don't. Macaroni, we've also seen classically, like, competitive lists that are running a single Apocalypse. We've seen Val decks that will just run one Apocalypse because if it's in the mid game and you draw it, it is just flavorfully worth it. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, I'll destroy my whole board. But I don't know if it's that big of a thing because like putting that amount of power onto one card with so much variance and then like not having a good read if it is an Apocalypse deck or not is a problem, let alone the max decks are consistently drawing their whole deck. So it's not that big of a deal. We have labor rights. Like, it would have to maybe remove itself from the game. I don't know. I don't love that idea. I obviously understand why it means something. I'd rather have that card be 5 influence. It could cost more too. I don't know. Learn to love the APAC. I don't. I really don't. 1x APACs for people who don't love themselves. Do you think Nisei will unban any Jinteki cards to shape up the meta pre-world? Which cards could come off Mati? I don't know. Okay, so the problem with Mati is like definitely Mati. Okay, hold on. We'll take a detour here. Mati is huge congrats to Django, by the way. As much as I say like I don't understand the deck list, like they did it, they played well. Huge congrats. I don't want to take anything away from that. That's amazing. Mati Mukundo was a really strong ability and it was eventually banned from the game. And I think a big thing about Mati is that if this exists, there's like no reason to play any of the other Jinteki identities like Ag Infusion or Pilana. This is just strictly better than them. It's very powerful. I think now that we have also Animatic Void, border control, all that sort of stuff, it could be even more and more powerful. I really liked playing Mati. It was really fun. It had a lot of mind games. You could be really aggressive. It felt good to play. It was, I think, also pretty high. It's a high enough skill cap. And there was some cool counterplay to it as well. But a lot of runners didn't like it because it kind of broke this basic idea like, oh, I'm going to run R&D. There's no ice on it. And then suddenly an Anansi. And forcing for you to be a deck like Rashida turn 1 in front of an Anansi. Like it was definitely difficult. Back then we also had cards like Cortex Lock. So some face checks just turn 1 could be horrible for only a 2 credit res. So that made it difficult because if you didn't have that sort of money, you couldn't res, and it wasn't a big, cost for Mati to suddenly jam the scariest dice in front of you. So I don't know. I really don't know. I think this question has come up a bit, like how do you make Jinteki competitive? And I agree. I think last time we talked about this, Eric was on the stream, Whiteblade, and the thing that he said I agree with. The problem right now is that Jinteki doesn't have a strong identity. Like there's, compared to something like HB or NBN even, they have a strong game plan. Like they really do. And Jinteki has like 5-6 different game plans and 4 of them are competitively unviable. One of them is just a Nancy and the other one is just Animatic Void, right? Those two come together to some extent, right? Like the whole trap net damage game, that's a separate archetype. All the stuff that came out in the Ashes cycle, most of that is like unplayable at this point. So it's just, yeah, the ice is so weak too. Like they lost some of their best ice recently with like losing, Engram Flesh. And I'm not too sad about that. Yeah, Mati just got like 15 credits and 10 clicks for free while being impossibly aggro against. Yeah, it was also one of the best abilities that actually scales into the late game. Because when you're installing an ice on a remote server that already has 4 ice on it, mind you, Surveyor was also a thing back in the day. Like that is so much value. Jinteki Glacier are great, for example. It's Diogene, it 100% isn't, and that's very provable. It is very, very provable. It's not. I promise you, it's not. It's not competitive. I have no doubt that you're playing it to success, but like if you're playing in Continentals, please prove me wrong. It has horrible matchup against 419, a very bad matchup against Max, a very bad matchup against Apocalypse. It's not good. It's really not good right now compared to the other stuff you could play, right? Like why when you can sports medal on turn 6? New idea is fun and decent, but only in startup. Yeah. Free Kakugo. Okay, so Kakugo is another card that like people suggest, unban this, and I think we'd want that because we have the alt arts of it. But man, it's good that there's strong cards, that's for sure. But the one thing that always made me really upset about Kakugo specifically is that it encouraged non-play. It's the same thing with cards like GameNet and Architects of Tomorrow that maybe rub me the wrong way because they discourage interaction. Sometimes the best thing you can do against Kakugo, a deck that puts like 3 Kakugos on central servers, is just click for 4 credits and not interact with them. Because a lot of times those decks were good enough at burning agendas, playing defensive agendas and traps, that going for centrals for accesses wasn't the right thing to do. Because running R&D to maybe get a Stargate, to maybe see 1 or 2 cards with your jailbreak, and then losing 2 cards from your deck, that deck would do nothing but sit back and wait for you to mill yourself. So the best thing you could do is just do nothing. If Kakugo had maybe a side game attached to it to do the net damage, that would be better. Because then it's technically interactive. Maybe the game would be way too slow, but like, I just don't like that this card inherently can just build things where you put all these on central servers and do nothing. And that was obviously a bigger thing back in the day with cards like Shipment from Tenon, where there was actually like a real strong win condition. How does that not show up? From Tenon? Yeah, so there's a stronger archetype of punishing people for not running. But I never realized the art was so weird. What is this person walking on? It's just Sky here, but are they in the pod? What's happening? Anyways, that's part of Kagugo's making Kuza useful. Yeah, and Kuza did see a bit of play there. But that's the part I don't like at Gakugo. I don't like it that like it just really incentivizes this like I'm gonna do nothing and then I'm hoping that you're gonna run, which is the wrong move. And I don't like that. I really don't. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a cool design though. Like I wish that ice was like more, to some extent, ice was more potent. Like if only one Kakugo could fire every turn. Maybe if Kakugo was unique, stuff like that maybe is more interesting. Because if Kakugo was unique, you might be like, okay, I'm going to draw my one unique Kakugo and put it on the remote server, and that's going to be my Obakata Anoetic Void remote. And maybe that's fine. But the fact that they can put 3 Kakugo on central, like, I guess I'll click for 4 and wait for you to jam the remote and do nothing. Like, it's just not fun to watch. It's not fun to play, I don't think. That's me. Anywho, I don't know if we have too much else to say, because I think at this point the decks become very similar. Like you're seeing Sports Metal, single arc lockdown. They're playing more ice, which I think is in theory meant to be good against 419, but I've been told that that's wrong. And a Virus Max deck, so that is showing up. This Max is 3 Apocalypse, so this is, I think, what you're expecting. Bridgman is running this, a single Ace Hops, which is cute. It's a Max deck, 3 Laborites. We're going to get there. And on the other side, this is the interesting other NBN deck that's showing up. This is really cool. Acme has some really strong ice. Data Ward is a heck of a card. Data Ward, 3 Anoetic Void, mind you. We're just saying Anoetic Void is how we're going to win. That makes sense. And 2 Chrysium, again, because we're a slower deck. We have to build a remote server, so might as well make sure we don't die to Apocalypse. A single Hansei is cute too. And double Subliminal, because it's hard to run to Acme. Because IP block is hard to deal with. FTP, all this ice is really good. 3x Hydra, oh my god. This deck looks fun. I want to play this if anything. And then we have not too much different here. 3 Apocalypse, Sports Metal. I don't think there's anything shiny here. 2 Arc Lockdown, and then a similar list. Oh no, so there was a lot of Virus Max. Okay, there's more than I thought there was. Excuse me. Kuzo's Great One Runner economy was still way too strong. Is it still around? They should reprint Kakugo as the exact same card, except for the art is a potato. People would be so confused, but we even know, right? Anywho, that is what it looked like. I don't know how different it's going to be. And again, I've been saying this so much and I don't know how to be proven wrong, because Sports Metal is meant to be good against 419. And yeah, 419 is still showing up and it's doing pretty well. I think the conversion rate on Max seems way better right now than the conversion rate on Sports Metal, right? Like there was 15 Max players and almost a bit less than half of them made it to the top cut. Like that's wild compared to 419 where, you know, 2 out of 13. If you put 3 in your deck, then your deck is potatoes. I don't think it's entirely bad that the best way to deal with Kakugo is sitting back and clicking for credits. I don't think that's good, though. And I don't think that lines up with what Nisei wants to do. Zandorius made us do Purge and Teki Glacier a few months ago. I don't know. Do you have a deck list on that one? I don't know which one that one is. But like one of the big reasons why nobody plays that deck specifically is that it folds. Well, not entirely, excuse me. I think one way you can goof with Max, and I'm interested to see if this is going to happen, is Max is really weak to damage. The Max decks run at the mid to late game. They only have 5 cards in hand. It's like 2 labor rights, and they need to keep their cards in hand. If they lose all their labor rights, it's pretty bad. So having cards like Snare, having upgrades that do damage, they're actually really potent against that list. So there's a slight chance that like some sort of Jinteki really rush deck that runs an amount of damage could be playable. But I imagine that's actually really weak against 419, so I don't know. But it is worth knowing that Snare looks really good against Max. Any damage looks really good against Max, because if you can dismantle the pieces and dismantle the recursion, like Max has a very short half-life. All right, let's pick a deck up. Max can keep up with Lightspeed Corpse, so that makes sense. Yeah, Max also can go really fast. All right, I think I'm gonna play, like, we played a lot of Sports Metal already on this channel. I think we know how it is. I think we can try this out. This looks really fun. Daily Quest, NGO Rashida, it's going to be a bit similar. We don't have a tag plan, so we're actually like a straight Glacier plan, but like we can do it with triple Anoetic Void. We have card draw from Predicted Planogram. We don't have Spin Doctor? What? Wait, what? Mainly because I don't want my recursion to be trashable with an already squishy deck, so we're on Preemptive instead? Whoa, let's go. Okay, let's import this. I'm going to refresh Keyhole, so give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to refresh keyhole, so just hold on for 1 second. Oh, hold on. It is 67022. Okay. Preemptive makes more sense if your deck is super slow. Yeah. No, it makes a lot more sense. And having it not being trashable, obviously, that's good. Jackson countered. Okay. All right. Not legal any longer? I really want to try Kamalo deck running Yusuf Muzazi against the meta, but I can't play this year. Ah, bummer. For what it's worth, like Muzazi just probably isn't worth the time when you could play Yusuf and even play Palangi, but Marcus, what's not legal any longer? Sour cream? Okay, let's go. This deck is helped Bridgman test this. It's great versus APAC, but a little fragile early though. I believe it. It seems like it's gonna be very fragile early. Like our ice is like way too expensive. Kikugo breaks the inevitability rule of Netrunner. Normally the pressure is on the corp to make a play, otherwise the runner will eventually find holes and win. Yeah, no, it kind of does. What is this? What is going on here? What is this card? It's a data ward, but it also tells you the X value of the cursor? Oh, heck yeah. Hey, Andre, playing Acme. A very nice idea. Yeah, it did well last weekend. I was talking about the Restoring Humanity list that NetDev put together with hasty relocation. Marcus, thank you. I'll open that in another tab. We'll look at that after this game if I don't forget. Remind me if I do, kindly. Something here is broken. Opening hand is just a data ward. Enigma data ward on HQ looks really, really good. And then we can do Enigma into Rashida. Yeah, that's fine. What's our agenda suite? 3 GFI, 3 QPM, 1 below. No, that's the wrong deck. Hold on, we'll get there. Best of luck, have fun. So they're playing safety first. I don't know what's going on here. Something looks hecka broken. Safety first. Neutralize all threats, find the truth. So the stuff that we'd expect. Crisium Grid does work technically against that, and if they hit that, they have to trash it. Oh wait, this is 6 credits, right? So we might want to go a bit slower. How much ice do we have in the list? 654. So 15. So if we do Enigma into if they run HQ, it's unlikely for them to be able to steal something. So I'm just gonna push for this. Right? Like, because if they hit this in any other order besides the Bologna first, they can't steal it. Yo, Kat, are you playing this weekend? No, I'm casting all of it. I remember, I think you're on holiday, so enjoy that. But no, we'll be talking through all of it. We're actually running the stream. I'm trying to make Muzazi work ever since it was printed, but I will not be swayed from this bad idea. No, yo, enjoy yourself. I promise you it's a bit of an uphill fight, considering like you could do Palangi, Paperclip, all that other stuff. But yeah, no, it's a thing. Anoetic Void, mind you, is also very good against Adam if they're playing. So they had to trash that. That's good. If they're playing specifically Logic Bomb, which they usually are. We have no hard-hitting news. We have no tag punishment whatsoever. Okay. All right, check that out. What's the chance we can get them to faceplant into this? Install 1 card to the grip, give the runner 1 tag. Okay, this is good. I think we can just continue doing our thing. Get another Rashida into another Rashida. We'll put the Anoetic on the remote and then slowly get that Bologna out. We should know what they're drawing into. They drew into Earthrise. And they just play that and click for credits. Okay. I'm on vacation, got my deck box complimented by TSA. So that was neat. Did they open up and go through it? Because deck boxes look really weird on X-Ray. Okay, cool. So this is good on archives to stop them getting their like really cheeky runs. We have 9 cards, so we're gonna have to discard something. I like Hydra. It's important to have something on the outside that actually cares about a tag for Acme, because they're considered tagged on the outermost heights. So the Hydra on server 1 looks nice. From here, if we just attach Crisium to HQ, like it's really difficult for them because they have to access it, and that'll be 5 credits. I don't think we need 2 Anoetic Voids. I don't want to put another Rashida. I think we just want to set up the score at this point, but our economy isn't amazing. We'll put this in so next turn that we can install Advance. And from this point, I don't think we need the Attitude Adjustment. I think that's the worst card. Oh, Paul Up. Wow. They have a political operative, so they need to run HQ. Mind you, this is a really hard end to run. It's either a tag or 3 credits, and then 4 subroutines is a heck of a lot. We haven't seen any breakers so far, but Angolo is usually the thing. How easy is it to break Hydra with Yute? Or Adore, excuse me. Paperclip? Okay. I think we're going to push this. We just need a bit more money, right? Because we have a lot on this remote server. And if we can res the Hydra, mind you, they will be considered tagged if they don't logic bomb it. So we will gain 5 credits. So it's half cost, as long as we can afford the 10 up front. They have a tread lightly. Ooh, that's rude. So we need to make sure we respect that. They only have 5 hand size though, so they might just like play that for value, and we can pop NGO front before. I have 12 metal dice in my deck box, so I get stopped every time. Oh yes, it's happening. I'll still pay 8 for this gladly. So they're hitting this. So they take 3 net damage. 5 credits. Oh man, Hail Hydra. Oh. So they don't take the tag, but they took 3 net damage. Oh my god. So what did they lose? They lost the Paul Up, the daily cast. They drew into Career Fair and Earthrise. They have 11 credits, so we can safely jam into here. Send a message. Oh man, what is this deck? Dore actually lines up pretty well, all things considered. What's the number? I'd believe it though. I think we'd rather, if we score this, we res this, but then we're on low credits. I think we'd rather score this, because this is like financially free. This deck is wild. Yeah, no, there's a lot of like weird things you could do. Like you run into here. Hail Hydra. Yeah, Hydra is such a good card, man. If you have the upfront money, like there's nobody deals with this well, right? Like it's still technically okay. Boomerang, it's a tag. Yeah, it refunding 5 definitely helps. So the Career Fang, the second Earthrise, they have the Adore and the Logic Bomb in hand. So Logic Bomb is really, really strong. Anoetic Void, I mean, deals with it. Adore comes down, they have to boost. It's only 6 credits. Yeah, that's honestly fine. Yeah, Arash, you're right. It's only 6 with the Adore. They drew an Emergent. So we know there's a Logic Bomb in hand. They probably play that. They probably play that. Because they want to go down to 2 cards if they can. So they're probably not Emergent here. They could Emergent and discard a card. We should be tracking a bit better. I think we probably know another card in their hand as well. But the Logic Bomb is very, very strong. If we score this, we have to throw out a card. Yeah, there's a Logic Bomb. I wonder if they're going to run it. We can just give them the Enigma. And there's a Adore. Okay, that makes sense. And they drew another Tread Lightly. So, I think honestly we just hedge fund this. So I don't want to double ice most of these servers because then they have, because it eats the tag subroutine, right? This is interesting. I think honestly we just like hedge fund, advance this once, and click for a credit. It's going to be very hard for them to get through Hydra and Enigma. Like again, they could do 6 credits and then this. They could Logic Bomb it, but then we get the free Anoetic Void. Or free, I mean, we pay for it. They drew a Liberated counts for Rizeki. I have no doubt they can just slap both of those down. Install Liberated, install Rizeki, click Liberated, click Liberated. That seems pretty good. But they definitely need breakers. I wonder if they're scared that this is a Tomorrow's Headline. Because we could score a Tomorrow's Headline, trash a whole suite of directives. That's technically the blowout here. I just don't know if we're running Tomorrow's Headline. We are. Amazing. It's a single send a message. That's so cute. So there's a Rizeki. It's hard to play the Liberated if you don't play now. They drew into second Logic Bomb. You don't need actually clicks to be lost. And they're going into 0. So, man. Advance, advance, score. So we're on 14. We jam to send a message. The other option is jamming the daily quest. I'm not sure I love jamming the daily quest. We could also definitely put the Rashida down. But I feel like our remote server is so good right now that we just want to get this down. Next turn we can do advance, advance, advance. I'm just worried we're going to have to spend 9 credits for HQ, but we can let them in. We wouldn't spend 9 credits if they tread lightly HQ. They have a multi-threader and a career fair. So they have a Emergent, career fair, multi-threader. Trashing out directives would be reverse APAC. I wonder how hard they're respecting like public trail or hard-hitting news. I think hard-hitting news is more likely, but it's really hard for this deck that relies on resources to be aggressive. And we don't have any, but like they still have to play like we do. It's not the top cut where deck lists are open. Oh, jailbreak. Where are we going? F2P. They break this for 6 credits. We res it for 4. I'm going to res an F2P. So they can't use that. So they actually have to break it unless they want to take a tag, which they could at this point. They're going to pay 6. Oh, man. That's a good trade for us. So they revealed they drew an overclock off the jailbreak. They see 2 cards. They can't steal Bologna. So they're just 1 credit short of Bologna. They know what we're drawing. So if they do put it on an RNG key, not that it matters, they do have, I don't know why these didn't load, but find the truth is going to help the RNG key regardless. And the overclock's good. In theory, they could overclock R&D. See 1 card. Only costs 2 credits. It's a multi-threader, that helps. They threw out a crew fair. Okay. Ah, subliminal, cute. Okay. Well, we can play it. It's free. We can do triple advance, putting us to 7. Again, I don't mind if they hit HQ, because if they hit the Crisium or even the public daily quest and have to trash it, like, it's gonna be a problem for them. But I think they have to hit Liberate counts this turn. So they drew another jailbreak, another multi-threader, so they still have the tread lightly. They're on 11. They have a jailbreak. They might go for HQ here, but we've been jamming. There's a jailbreak. Oh, we're going in. So this is only 4 credits now. I think one of the cards, though, they've already seen, so this might not be the best time to jailbreak, right? Because we didn't draw last turn. Oh, it was a Bologna. That's why they're going for it. So they were 1 credit short. But now they have 3 points. Okay, so I don't honestly mind free-resing the data ward because it doesn't have a face check. It's just annoying. So we can do that. Res that. Feels good. And it's either jamming the Rashida or jamming the daily quest. And I think jamming the Rashida is good enough because if we draw into any 1-2 or it's a 3-2 or even, do we have 15 minutes? We don't. So we'd have to draw specifically a sandbox. It's a pretty good server, right? Because it's Anoetic Void behind, let alone Hydra Enigma. Side P block's actually pretty good because they're tagged. So it's a trace and they're not going to get through. They don't have a paper. Oh, they do have a paperclip. So that's 7 credits though. So they're actually, oh no, they have multi-threader, but it's going to be a lot and their MU is actually full. They haven't drawn into what's it called yet? Into a brain chip. So they're actually going to have to trash one of their programs. And all the programs are pretty bad to trash. The Roseki's a lot of value. The multi-threader's a lot of value, specifically already this turn. So it looks like they're just going to take the tag. I don't know if they know that they're tagged here, so they can't trace through it because they're considered tagged with Acme. So they not only lost the Dirty Laundry. Dang, that's rough. They have a Memory Diamond. Kind of useful. Overclocking the remote. That's fine. They just can't deal with Enigma. It's going to... Oh. Oh, they're logic bombing it? Yeah, we'll just res the Enigma. They don't have an Orchestra, right? No. We'll res the Enigma. We'll still have enough money to off the Rashida. They can logic bomb this, actually. Oh, they did. So it's they either trash... Oh, they can trash both? Wait, so we can't afford the Anoetic. I forgot they have 2 logic bombs. That's fine. Wait, no. What happened? What did they use their logic bomb on? Didn't they have 2 logic bombs? Did they logic bomb the F2P? They lost a click to logic bomb? Yeah, logic bomb loses all your clicks. Wow, wait. I thought you had... Oh, they have Ngolo. Wait, did they logic bomb the F2P? Did we miss that? Yeah, they logic bombed the F2P. Oh, they only had 1. Yeah, so I think resing the Enigma is fine there. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right. So they... Well, that's actually a really good draw. Wow, that's a fantastic draw. That helps us with economy. So we install in server 1. We advance it once. At this point, we just click for credit. We need 3, 4, 5 to do what we want to do here. So we'll throw that out. We'll probably just throw that out. And then if they can't rob us all our credits, that's it. They could have clicked for credit since they were using Logic Bomb anyways. Yeah, if they were going to use Logic Bomb, they definitely should have done something before just losing the last click. There's no reason not to. So now they have to run this to not lose, but Anoetic Void. So there's no winning play here. Besides, like, yeah, well, yeah, they can't even deal with Enigma, so that's it. They'd have to jailbreak and hit 2 agendas. Or like Legwork or Maker's Eye, yeah, okay, so this is not going to do it. So they can break this. It is 4 credits after the refund on multi-threader. Get 1 good access. They do have 5 credits. They can steal the last balloon if they find it. Nothing. All right. That's a good remote. Oh my god, that's a good remote. You can just go through the F2P 4 times. Yeah, you're right. They probably should have if they thought it was game. Because this doesn't end the run. It just loads on the tags. Hey, thank you. You too. They didn't find a brain chip. They didn't find the brain chip. It's been a while since I played Adam. But we've said this so many times. Like, Adam, if you don't draw the brain chip and you don't get out of the 3 hand size, it's such a different game. Oh. Hail Hydra. I didn't realize they lost one early. I guess so they lost one to the Hydra. That's cool. Yeah, I totally forgot. All right, that's fun. That is fun. I feel like in that matchup specifically, if we had hard hitting news, that's gonna be a really hard matchup because we can threaten the directives, and I don't think the directives did that much value. They didn't do that much work, but like that's what's cool about this. Like the name is so good, sealed shut. Like even a 419 is gonna struggle to get relevant accesses there, right? Like F2P, you could maybe boomerang it, but it's gonna be a lot of tokens on your Amakua before you get through that. I think the numbers on Buckalter aren't amazing. IP block's always a problem in that matchup until you like get rid of Amakua. I don't think you have any good way to deal with Data Ward. You could maybe boomerang a Hydra, but like it's as long as you can survive the early game and don't get diversioned too hard, you can build some really good servers, and central servers included. And like we had the tech, we had the APOC tech, like we had Chrysiums to go, we had extra Anoetic Voids. Yo, what up, Cactus? Oh, there we go. Let's see if this works. All right, our opening hand has no ice whatsoever, which means we're more likely to top deck ice, but we generally want to ice HQ. The Rashida and Daily Quest are not that useful without ice. We're definitely going to hit that button. That seems a lot better. Gotta close the stream. Okay. So Daily Quest early is like, it's not the best. I think if you jam a remote server, IP block isn't, it's still really good because the tag ends the run. But if the inside job for a Daily Quest, like, thanks you too. Maybe that's an okay trade. Oh man, hedge fund's a really good top deck there. So a lot of times we want to double install. Do we want Hydra and HQ? How hard is that going to be a problem? I think that's like okay. We can't res it though. I don't think they're going to turn 1 diversion. That seems wild considering how much. Hydra and HQ? I think so, Marcus. I think so. And I'm going to click for a credit because next turn we're going to install IP block Daily Quest, right? And generally you want to install more than 1 card a turn, but we are already committing to install 2 cards next turn, so I don't think there's a reason to overextend here. Going to get boomered? Yeah, that's fine if this gets boomered. Like they take they either end the run, we gain 5, or they take 3 net damage. Those are all relevant subroutines if it gets boomeranged. And like this play makes it look like it's not a Hydra. Like it looks more like it's an IP block, which would get boomeranged. It looks more like a Data Ward, which shouldn't boomerang. Wow, that is wild. What's the punish here? I don't think there is a punish here. Anoetic, oh, they're gonna trash that. Actually, there is a punish there. If that's a Data Ward, that's kind of bad for them. Brainstorm. No, assuming they know the list. What? Don't hit the DQ. Oh, they hit the DQ. What? Come on. You serious? Dang. All right. At least they're not setting up. But we have nothing to jam anymore. Gotta get used to bravados now while they don't cost money to pay out. All right, so they see the top. So they haven't set up. They know we have a toll booth. We definitely want to draw here. We're going to click for a credit. We'll draw again because we have nothing going on. We'll click for credit just so we can threaten this. I think they think this is a Hydra now. You're doing good, right? So they might think it's a Hydra now because no res on that amount of money is strange. That's okay when we have 2 IP blocks. And it's like, what, 6 on this? Class act. That's wow. That was their whole hand. What a hand. Bravado Amakua. Oh man, that's great. Okay. Oh, they're drawing first, so they don't get the filter draw. It's technically better to not draw there because you get the filter draw on the 4, which is more valuable. Technically. So now we have to pay for all this stuff. And we need to ice up archives. Like, otherwise the Amakua runs wild. So I think we have to keep the, we have to, like, push for a remote toll booth, which isn't amazing. Did they see the IP block in HQ? I think they saw it on top of R&D. Because we drew one after it. So they know probably one IP block. I don't think they access the IP block. I think they access the preemptive. But they know one of these is a block. And they know that we have a toll booth as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Enhance. Check it's real small when you do that. That's not that bad. I'm not gonna have my cam on, mind you. I hope that's obvious while we're streaming for Continentals, because it's about everyone else. It's not about. It's not definitely not about me. So you'll see more of the board, which is good. I think one other thing that's good, and you don't see this on the other streams, like having this, the ability to. Oh, this is fine. We res this for sure. I'll go down to 0. I don't care. So now one of these separate teams fires. I imagine it's the gain 5. It's the gain 5. Wait, that's terrible. The gain 5 is so bad. Oh no, wait a second. You don't say. Oh man. They just gained 5. Oh no, what have we done? I think we had to res that there. Yeah, okay. Wow. Wait, that was really bad. Andre making the plays. We had to res there, right? Now they know they can always diversion through this, which is hilarious. Planogram backup. Yeah, no, we're going to planogram and just click for 2 more. But it's really bad into diversion if they do that again, but they need another boomerang and a diversion in hand, which seems a bit unlikely. But I'm assuming once we get to the mid to late game, once we actually get like a lot of ice up and their Amakua becomes a lot less useful, that will be okay. We might have to, like, you know, deal with this for a bit, right? Like, exactly, like deal with this. Because now they have a tag, the trace on this, they'll have to boost at least 2. So, you know, stuff like this is it's going to be a rude awakening. I'm not going to boost it. Hydra mixing up a sub with little engine. Exactly, yeah. This is just a little engine. That card's not in the game anymore. He said no, there's no way. Oh no! We have no punishment for tag me besides the fact that our ice is good. But now they're a couple tags in. So they have no money. We will credit trash the class act. We have nothing else going on. Oh wait, why credit? We'll hit this button. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Actually, I don't think we'll trash it. Maybe we didn't want the cards. That's a ridiculous sentence, right? Of course we want the cards. The little engine that could, but probably shouldn't. So that's good. So we basically want to do toll booth into daily quest, but we can't afford it. So next turn we do double NGO front. So I think we play planogram to gain 3 and don't draw, and it will preemptive. You can throw out a TB here. Well, if we throw out a TB and we can't res it, they can get Amakua counters. So I don't want to just throw that out, let alone we'd have to pay for the Amakua. So I don't want to do that. Next turn we'll install this, advance. So I'm just going to do this for 3. And then we're going to preemptive them back in. We have 2 more anoetics, so I don't think I care that much. You aren't resing 2 anytime soon. They are tagged? Yeah? I know. Am I missing something? I just don't want to draw more cards there. This deck, mind you, doesn't have Spin Doctor. Yeah, we didn't want to draw there. Because like we can't overdraw on like Spin Doctor out. We actually have to play. Quest doesn't trigger in the runner if you don't res, right? No, but it doesn't do anything if we don't res. Oh, that's really good. You can install not res to clear cards. If we install not res, they get Amakua counters. That's something we don't want to do. We definitely want to get this scored. It's going to depend on the Anoetic Void, which eats boomerangs and inside jobs really well. So we'll just get our money up, I think. We could also install the Chrysium. Are they going to diversion us? They might diversion us, honestly. And if they do, it's a big problem. Actually, not that much. We'll res this so that they can't get value off of, what's it called? They don't know that's a toll booth. They may not run. I think they know that it is a toll booth. And even if it's not, like, I don't know what they're afraid of. I guess if we're not threatening Hydra, maybe you're right. You paid to prevent? Yeah, so it doesn't give an Amakua counter. No, I'm aware. It might not be strictly right, but I don't want to give Amakua counters. I don't think any of our ice is that low strength. So it might not matter. Because hopefully we purge at some point anyways, but I just don't love giving Amakua counters. IP block 3 means they have to go tag me. Yeah, IP block 3 is going to be a fun problem for them. So I think we're going to do daily quest into Till Booth. How can they get up to strength 4 on Turtle? By like getting accesses, honestly. Like it's just probably worth the credit for us because we can play the slow game. Like we're going to do it again here. Oh, oops. We're weak to tread lightly here, actually. We might want to click for one more credit. They can also get up to Turtle on counters by doing expose effects for falsified, but we don't have falsified here. They also have Deuces Wild. Like the Turtle counters show up a bit faster sometimes than you might think. But you're right, they're pretty locked out. Yeah, Thanos is saying it too. Crazy on DQ is hella funny. It's kind of cute. I don't fully believe in it, but I get the idea. Oh man, that's not good. And we don't have, oh, we have attitude adjustments, so sometimes we can get out of this. Okay, so next turn we actually can consider jamming a second toll booth. We're gonna need a lot of money if they tread lightly, but otherwise it's okay. We'd have to res 16 credits worth of stuff though if they inside job, but they don't have a lot of money. Maybe you just jam Bologna. Fangio was res, they couldn't falsify and all that ice point was resed. Yeah, but then we give them a counter. I just don't want to give them a counter. I think our money's going to be okay, that we can afford to pay one. You're right that we pre-resed it, so they can't get a token, but like they have deuces, they have ways. Like eventually they're going to destroy this, I think, and just put a paperclip down. Okay, Enigma's good. Enigma to toll booth is good enough. So we're at 21, so we can do Enigma. I think we do Cyber Sandbox Advance. Let's see. Getting the sandbox is really good. I don't know. Do we have CVSs? We have a single CVS. That's generally good. Makes archive sometimes more untenable. It gives some good surprises, but I don't think exactly. This is like a matchup that's really hard to depend on. Oh, they're diverging, but we have a Chrysium. Oh, but then they're going to go for the Axis. The Axis is actually worse for us. No, it's only 1 in 3 that's worse from us. They're going to give us 5 credits on this? What are they going to do? This also could be an anoetic, but I think that's good for them. So they have to choose which subroutines to not break, or one subroutine. So they lost the Dirty Laundry, the Turning Wheel, and a Paperclip. So that's value on the Paperclip. So we'll res this, so they have to go for an Axis. So they can only steal the Tomorrow's Headline, but they'd be a tag. They can trash this for free with Miss Bones. They don't get a Penny Shaver. This prevents all successful runs, but they still have an Axis here. Like this, they can replace it. They can choose not to use the Axis the toll booth. That's by far the best hit. So we got lucky there. But they'll trash this. Wait, why don't they trash it? Bones it? Yeah, totally. Paperclip value looks like Andre's half play. No, it's not bad, but like I see why they took that instead of giving us 5. So Miss Bones is on to 7. And we're gonna get the good perch here. They got an Emiku counter. See that they oh well, that's a bit awkward. All good. They were clearing their Amakua counters because they trashed a card. But it didn't really matter there. I think we want to score this and probably just like eat their board state. Getting the class act down here is pretty bad because they need the filtered draw. Turtle counter though. Yeah, no, we're fine. We purged. Earthrise. Yeah, oh man. Getting this on the table would be really good. So we need what? 11 for that? I think here we could maybe save a credit. I don't know if it matters. I'm not that worried about the boomerang, but we always should have this. Jam Bologna, I don't know. I kind of love this for the blowout. Because they're not going to run it. Bologna's nice when they run it, which they might like recover in a bit and then consider running it. It's also safe in HQ while this isn't. So I kind of like this right here. But I hear you. Bologna is definitely very safe. But I think it's also very safe in HQ. Because if they run HQ and steal Bologna, we basically have a scoring window for the next turn. And this also looks like a Bologna, so they won't probably interact with it. Easy, they have money. Do they tread lightly their moat? Oh, they do. They run. I'm going to res the Enigma. It is cheaper. God, the Enigma. So powerful. Oh, yeah, Anoetic. Okay, so we're going to advance. We'll score this. I'm going to trash things. I don't want like this. Do we want to trash this too? Man, this looks really mean right now. That's just rude. We probably didn't have to go that far. If we had another thing to jam this turn, we could. Bologna. Yeah, we could jam this in theory, but we need a whole turn cycle to do that. I said turn cycle instead of turn. It makes you sound smarter. Hello, Wayne. How's it going? Are you playing Saturday? No, we're casting all Saturday. Why not install the Anoetic? I'd rather install 2 things on a turn. But just installing the Anoetic doesn't do anything. I don't think they're going to run the remote. Rizeki seems a bit too little too late. They also still are tagged. Oh, that split one's going to get value. I just snap played that. Maybe we should have considered it. But like installing the Anoetic, maybe you're right because we could jam this, but then we can't afford the Anoetic. So I think we just install advance this, but then they boomerang here. Sense of the Bologna? Yeah, I know, but then we can't afford any of them. I know what you mean. We might have been able to afford if we didn't trash like the class act. We still need to res this for 8, otherwise we lose to inside job, let alone boomerang. So I think we can hold for a bit. My agenda as a first name is BELLONA. Would have had more money if you didn't trash. Yeah, no, that's true. That is definitely true. Trashing is really expensive. So what are we worried about? There's one more diversion. Sorry, I know you can't see that well, but it's cropped. We're zoomed in. I think we just click 3, honestly. No, we probably put this in server 2. I don't think they're going to think it's an upgrade. We might actually want to consider resing this for falsified. Still waffling over decks. What looks good? I think we might consider resing this. Oh, okay. That's fine. Oh, that's fine too. We're short 1 on the toll booth. That's unfortunate. Digging these new cards. Have you not seen these? They're good ones. Some really strong stuff. This card is absurd. So we can't res here. So they can take this down. That's fine. The problem is that we probably have to play a bit slower. Like we might just want to click for credits here. Anoetic is only 1 to trash. They get that money back on Penny Shaver. Oh, let alone it's Miss Bones. So could you just IA Bologna each of the next 2 turns? Yes. Largely. But we could just wait till the toll booth comes up. Because they are struggling. If we don't do anything, they probably don't run, so we get Subliminal. They probably actually wanted to trash the Amakua. I'm not sure why they didn't. This is never going to get valuable counters. Maybe it forces us to pay a credit, but like with the IP blocks, I don't know if you want to keep this around. It seems like a liability, let alone if there's an IP block on the remote server. I forgot that we're Acme, but I guess that doesn't matter for this remote server right now. I'm just going to click 3, I think. Void to kill the boomer, not actually get play. Wait, why don't we purge instead of clicking for 3? Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, we should have purged 100%. Purging would be way better than clicking for 3. No, you're totally right. Yeah, we should have purged there. That's on us. There's no reason why we wouldn't. I think it's strictly better if you're going to get class act to not draw last click. Because it's better to look at 5 and pick 4 than it is to look 2 and pick 1 and then pick 3, right? I think I said it wrong, but you know what I mean. I just bit the bullet and submitted without any edits, no regrets. Oh, you playing? Hell yeah. Server 2. We just jammed this, right? If we do, we'd be on 10. Yeah, that seems fine. It's either we res the toll booth or this. There's a chance that they install a boomerang or a breaker and break the Enigma that they won't be able to afford 5. Oh, Unity, okay. Oh, that's fine. Ruh-roh. Do they have an overclock? They need an overclock. This is a decoder. This is a boomerang that gets over ice. So we're not going to res it, but they need 5 credits to access here. They install both of them, but there's short credits here. And now they're running this click, so they actually have to break both of these subroutines, or they probably do. Yeah, that looks like it's a good game. They would need an overclock or an imp or something. I don't think they're playing imp. Oh, right. Oh, Unity, yeah. Unity is 1 strength, which actually is a huge disadvantage against Enigma. We're not gonna res. Imagine practicing your decks before a big tournament. Imagine. Some people do it, but it might be overdoing it. It might be. I don't know if it's worth it. A good game. I needed to shut down those centrals fast. They didn't have any mutual favors. Like, they actually had to draw for their breakers. But yeah, icing up all the centrals, and we talked about this before the game started. Like 419 might struggle because it's hard to get value accesses against some of this ice. I think you need to overinstall the Amakua so that you could consider boomeranging this if you really need to get into centrals, because the Amakua is just such a liability. Yeah, I thought you'd overinstall your turtle. Stops the blowout for the last IP block on remote. Yo, Pat, how's it going? What you reading? It's better to draw then class act unless you already know what you want to bottom the top card of your deck. You really think so, Raketha? Totally, yeah, for sure. Yep. When you install, you can delete as much as you want. Yeah, so you don't need to be over MU to overinstall stuff. As long as you're installing something, you can trash any amount of programs. Finally started the calculating stars. What's the point of mutually breakers if you can just draw them naturally? Literally playing money when you can just get lucky. Wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah, okay, sure. Hey, of course. Yo, Pat, I guess you're the only one I can brag to. Yo, good game, Cactus. Yeah, this is hard. This is definitely really hard against a 419. I like this list, though, that you're playing. Pat, you didn't come to Flesh and Blood this week. We went undefeated, won the event. They were singing my name down the street. It was really cool. I had a good time, though. It was really fun. Let's do another one. What time is it? Oh, it's 11:30. It sneaks up on you, doesn't it? We can have another game in us, that's for sure. Why? Why waste slots on consistency? Damn. It's like, why play multi-axis if you can just rip the agendas? I think it's the 419 approach, but that's probably like a really dumb thing to say. Are you still undefeated in Fab in Canada? No, I'm not. We went last week, and it was actually my worst performance. So Pat came, and another friend, Wasa, the guy who did Keyhole, came as well. And I played Pat, who has only played like 2 games. So we took a win off of that. But then I played 2 other players and never really lost to both of them. So it was actually a really bad standing last week. Went 2-2, which, you know, it brought me down to earth, which is important. You need to do that. Otherwise, I felt unbeatable. Because I literally was. Hey, thanks, you too. Songs of a Dead Dreamer by Thomas Ligotti. I've been reading Murderbot Diaries. I thought I said Murder Boat. Both seem good. I hope I kept hearing got too much. I'm in this short bit of this collection enjoying it. I win when Patrick isn't here and when he is. Yeah, right? Okay, Max might not be too aggressive. We can jam Data Ward Rashida turn 1. I think that's fine. An early sandbox, if we actually can score that, is even more impactful if it's a virus max. It might just be APOC, and maybe they even APOC turn 1. We'll see. So we got to plan our turn and next turn. So this turn we can do Data Ward, Rashida Credit. That's something. I think that might be okay. Obviously, leaving this open in HQ seems a bit rough. We also could hold off one turn, and we could do like F2P on HQ, Data Ward, F2P on HQ, credit. And the next turn we could jam these two. That seems fine too. We get a bit more information as well as we wait for 1 mil. Like sometimes you see something. Like if we see a hive mind, you know what's up. You see a rogue trading. Okay, what the heck? Jesus. They're tag me. That is, okay. They're finishing the 6th Dune series. I need easy reading. I'm reading Dune right now. It's pretty good. Enjoying it. Okay, so they're going to interact. They're going to take tags. That means our ice is not great. I like Murderbot a lot, but they got very samey as I read like all 6 over the course of a month. Hashtag book brag. All right. What is this? So we have to watch out for, what's it called? Oh, there might be a Bologna here. Oh no, they just won the Chrism ground. That makes sense because they're on that counter surveillance tech. So they could be on a God of War. I do think we have a pretty safe remote for this turn. So we want to get that off. I think we want to commit this to R&D just so we don't bleed accesses. But we can't res everything, that's for sure. OG Dune is probably my favorite book. Okay, good. I guess I'll finish it. Oh, I trashed the labor rights and the last laundry. Heard a great Dune joke. No, Pat, no. So can't res everything. They got all the things to worry about. Not the one Andre banned me from showing on stream. Ah, man. Still kind of blows my mind that Twitch and YouTube chat are intermingled. It's cool. It's like a bit messy because it keeps seeing restream, you know? It's a bit ugly. It is what it is. It looks better on my end, I'll be honest, because I just see all your icons and it looks way nicer on my side. But I'm glad at least. Did a fly just land on my face? I'm glad that we can bring the communities together. All right, they're thinking. And by thinking, I mean playing Liberated's accounts. I don't blame him. So we have to prepare for the eventuality. And putting an Anoetic Void on R&D actually might be the play here. Yo, I think we do IP block remote. I think we play like this. It looks like a fully operational deck. That might mess with them. But it's really good sometimes to get multiple remote servers because you get the value of Acme. Because now our IP block ends the run. And if we put it in front of the data ward gets a heck of a lot worse, and the deck isn't running Funhouse, which makes sense. So they lost a single imp. Good to know they're running imp for some reason, and 1 counter surveillance. So we need to count these. They're on 3 of these. We haven't seen any other tag cards besides rogue trading. IP block is gonna like that. Us giving them tags, the IP block is probably good for their God of War play. So it's gonna be hard. It does feel like an APOC list. Yeah, it might honestly be. You might be right about that. And I don't think we're too prepared. I think we want just a Chrysium. The fact that they value the Chrysium is either for counter surveillance or APOC. It might be like tag me, like old school max, trash everything, take tags. But we need to count these for sure. Is bringing Polana to Saturday a mistake? Yeah, I think so. I think Rain it is. It's not an amazing against 419. Oh, Paperclip coming down. That is clever. It's a good read. Will we res this for 2 to cost them 3? Going down to... Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, they can just bounce us and run it over and over again. So you need to tax it out or they get a magnum opus. Dune is great classic, but a little dated for my taste. Dune may be one of those books that is better as an audiobook, to be fair. It can be pretty dense. There's a lot of names that are introduced very quickly. And that has been a problem so far, especially because I dropped the book for a couple weeks and picked it back up. And I was like, there's like 3 or 4 hands to the Duke, and I don't know which one's which. Because they're all also like, not that it would be easy if they're named like Steve, but they're very specifically not named Steve. Can I choose to let a subfire to break the other? Totally. Yeah. Yeah, sure. It's up to. Yes, they want to take the tag. If break up to. Oh, yeah. Check that out. Break up to X barriers, subroutines if able. So they have to break them. I mean, the main guy is just Paul. Yeah, I know, but then the other ones aren't Paul. It's like Paul and Jessica are the kind of weird ones. I just got done with the Count of Monte Cristo, which ruled. All right, so they can't take the tags. We have to watch out for that because if able, I think if able means they have to. I think they have to. I don't know. If able is to do with the strength, you can let the other sub fire. Okay. Yeah, maybe that does track. Maybe if able means, you know, break the subroutines if you can. All right. Arzon, yeah, I could see that. There's the obelisk, so their hand size is going to go up. Full res. Again, this is 7 to break. I'm firing Rashida whenever I want. This honestly is actually a pretty good card if they're depending on God of War, which they could be. We don't have any defensives. We usually have defensives, so not too upset. I'm just going to get a lot of money. I feel like that's irrelevant. They have to respect Hydra now they're on 18. Hydra would have been a huge blowout there, but I don't think we put Hydra in front of their, what's it called? They lost the 3rd Liberated and an Obelisk. I've had worse. Sure gamble. They're flying. All right, it's a data ward. So this is 7 to hit a CVS. I think we're happy with this. Or they take a tag, and I think they just take the tag. Frank Herbert writing out computers as a 6-head play, make a timeless. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you're right. There isn't a lot of computer tech in it so far. Oh, they're going through. Enjoy it. Purge. Dumas prose is fantastic. Highly recommended the unabridged version, although it might take a while. It's 1,600 pages. Obelisk hints towards counter surveillance. We know it's counter surveillance. We've already seen one, and we've seen rogue trading. It's definitely counter surveillance. I was surprised. I thought they would just take tags off of that. They're not trashing this, which means they're probably not God of War. Otherwise, they would definitely trash that. So I guess they're just honest breakers. So they are going to take tags, so we don't have to keep this like unprotected. I kind of just want to jam the NGO front and see what they do, because after that we'll do toll booth, install this advance, which seems fine. So this seems like we built a window, so I want to see if they overclock this or do something clever. The Stand was the largest book that broke me as far as 600-page books go. I like how Andre is still gamely trying to play card games during book club. Yeah, I know, and I'm totally out of my element in books club. There's a moshing, but felt like an albatross that I had to finish. What is conventionally in terms of modern canon, the longest book? Is it Infinite Jest? Or is it the Bible? I feel like it's always Infinite Jest. Is there anything that's playable? That is, yes, there you go. That's what we were trying to bait out. I wanted to see if we could bait out something here. That's exactly what we wanted. I wanted to see if they had a trick to contest this, because now they're totally bankrupt. Yes, I love that we're wasting their time. They don't have Bologna bucks too, so this is, I think, a bit of a dodgy run. Isn't it Gravity's Rainbow? I don't know about that. I don't know what that is, I mean. Stevenson's Cryptonomicon is the largest I read. Just checking, it's 932 pages. That depends how big the pages are and how big the font is, so... MK Ultra's in the bin. They're on 1 credit. Does the Bible even count? It's a series of short stories. It's fine. It's a compilation. Is Infinite Jest longer than the Bible? All right, that's a real agenda. It has to be. You can buy it as a single edition, but could never be printed as such. Gravity's Rainbow is only 700 odd pages. Infinite Jest is over 1K. Infinite Jest is you can build houses out of it. Botulus moshing, okay. And we have planograms. We have gas. We have so much more gas than it looks like. They have an orchestra, another orchestra. They only have 3 tags. Another IP block up here is it's not that good. I thought about it. It's not that good. It's only 3 credits. And it gives them a tag on the way, which they kind of want. Wheel of Time is probably the longest series. I've read to completion, waiting for others to complete, sadly. I still need to finish the Terrifying the Monster at the end of this book. That's a title, right? Jess is an appendix longer than most books. Yikes. Rogue Trading, second one, Peace in Our Time. Ooh, Peace would be a really good play here. So they're down 2 rogue tradings, a single labor rights. I really think I should move my head. Why can't my head be here? He thought. Why can't head be here? This is a good place for head. Now we see Max all the time. All right, it's a botulus. I'm not going to res this because they'll just take the tag, and we don't want to do that. Not a lot of good accesses here. They don't have Clicks Apocalypse. This is fine. The Sesame Street book for children? Oh, they don't have Apocalypse. What's going on here? Do we show them what this is? Is there value in showing them what this is? Oh, they might have the thing in their hand. No, we have to respect this. Oh, wait, but no, but if they have the thing in their hand, they don't have the credits to play this. So this just takes their turn, which is nice, I guess. So we'll planogram hopefully for something here. We'll put a toll booth or a big ice on R&D. Because they also need credits equal to tag. So a toll booth subroutine will fire while they might just, botulus it. Thank you for the free gas. So we put this in server 1, and I think we want to get the agenda out of hand. Honestly, Hansei Review just doesn't make a lot of sense in a deck that also has Anoetic Void. Even after sleeping on Netrunner for a year, Runner Icebreakers seem timeless. Anarch Suite, yes. But generally, it's like less than you'd hope. That'd be like, oh, this is a cool niche that I'm gonna put because it works with my other breakers. It's just like, what's the most efficient stuff? So like Paperclip, amazing. And then Black Orchestra and MK Ultra just make a lot of sense, obviously, with Max. There's a God of War and a Rebirth that they milled. That seems really rough. So the question is the labor rights. What does labor rights look like nowadays? Oh, it's the face. So 2 more. It's got Rashida. Planos and instant Rashida. I think Rashida's good because it's something we can jam in a remote server. I think I'd actually like Rashida more than Hansei because Rashida also helps you refuel to. Oh, I see what you mean because of planogram. But yeah, I like having something you jam in remote servers. I feel like we don't ever want to discard a card from hand, especially if we have to we want to get Anoetic on R&D or Crisium. Crisium on R&D would be really good. Wow, how did they get that much money? Oh, they play Peace in Our Time. Okay, they got us. All right. Subliminal is cute. So we'll just put something on R&D to like put a bit of fear in their heart. Oh, this is really rough because they actually could blow us out with Apocalypse. And I think they're basically set up for an Apocalypse turn here. Like they definitely are set up for an Apocalypse turn. So we have to basically like predictive for an Anoetic or Crisium, which there are, I think, 3 left in 25. I'll do it. That's bad. That's not good. They don't have the Rebirth, so I don't think we have to protect archives more than anything else. This seems very expensive. I think we just put this on R&D and this on R&D. But yeah, we need to respect Apocalypse there. Yeah, they have to break the Hydra now. Yeah, right. Oh, they lost 2 labor rights. Oh my god. That's what they had in their deck, and they didn't draw. Oh, that's so bad. They have no more recursion. DQ? They're not going to trash that. I'd hope they do, honestly. They draw a card. Okay, that's the rest. So with 13 credits, can they break an Hydra and Apocalypse? Let's find out. This already is 3 credits. This is another 6 credits. So my guess is no. Oh, go ahead. You can take one. It'll be easier if you just do it manually. Yeah, for sure. Of course. Okay. Well, 3 net damage could be a problem. Gain 5 cards they don't care about, and the run they care about. So at a minimum, they have to install their MK Ultra and they have to boost 3 times. I don't think they can break this. Because it's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. They're short 1 credit to break this, let alone obviously the Enigma may be a problem. So this fires to some extent. They could break 2 separate teams if they want to. The net damage seems the most relevant. We're also not overextending because we still have toll booth money. We free res the toll booth. We're in a good spot. In what world do you ever run off-world when Sandbox exists? I guess it's still good, but I think you try to run all, like there's a lot of decks that would run all of them. But off-world sometimes, you know, more money now. is okay. But Sandbox is really good. But poly-ally decks would run all 6. So it's up to you. Anyone have any good book recs? Looking for some easy, thought-engaging light reads before I start any heavy series. The book I always recommend is The Spin, or just called Spin. Pat recommended it to me many years ago. It's really good. It won a Hugo Award, so it's kind of a safe bet, isn't it? Fire all, let's go. Let's hit some APOCs. APOC, rogue trading APOC. We can count influence now. This is why I put my face here. Okay, we're at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's no more influence, no more recursion. They have nothing. Ooh, yeah, that's a hit. Right there. That's amazing. We had as an 8 influence hit. Wow. They lost all the recursion. They lost 8 influence in one hit. And admittedly, I think if they knew there was 2 labor rights at the bottom of the stack, they probably wanted to draw at some point. This comes down. This is a very expensive breaker. And we do have already a CVS, so it's unplayable. It's just a way for them to get tagged so they can flush HQ at best. So we're still in 14. We can always CVS for 1. I think we trash the FTP and we put the data word there, just so there's no shenanigans. I'd rather res a data ward for free. Yeah, let's do that. Sunk their battleship. Yeah, it was quite the hit. Whew. So got a war 2 virus counters. It gives them a tag though, which is what they need. I think they have 1 more counter surveillance access to. So we've only seen 1 so far. So they have 2 counter surveillance. So they can flush HQ. They need 5 tags and they need to get through this, or 5 credits after getting through this. And this gives them a tag. So they have to also be prepared for 6. You have to pay as much as. It's not like if you pay less than you're fine. Oh, Subliminal, thanks. That's cool. So it's either we res the toll booth or we res the data ward and give them full information. And I'd rather res the toll booth because this remote is done. And this can be a nice surprise. I think if they don't res this, they don't think it's a Hydra, but yeah, it's going to be hard to get through anything. Basically, any of our ice besides data ward and Enigma, it's hard to get through and have 5 credits after it. And again, they can't rely on God of War. We have a CVS and they know it too. I don't know why they did trash this if they are on CVS and Botulus. Oh, we even could have considered purging into the Botulus at some point. That's interesting. There's a counter surveillance. I don't think there's any way that this succeeds. Because what is this? Okay, this is 8 strength. Yeah, there you go. So, okay, their options are break this for 7 and they only have 5 credits. Or break this for 8. And then they only have 2 credits. So yeah, there's no way they get through here and have enough to clear the hand. If you're into RPGs, the Die comic series by Kieran Gillen is great. Jason, I don't know what that is. But I'm not too much into RPGs. Have you seen Slipstream using this sort of deck? Yo, so, there was a comment that was pointing out about Slipstream showing up in a 4x9 deck at APAC and I totally missed it. So no, I have no idea about Slipstream. Yeah. So they have to now access what's S7 tags. I need to get around to Bobiverse, but I've been on a character-driven kick lately. That is very cool. I felt so stupid when I realized it was ending on issue 20 because of course. I don't know what that means. Okay. So, we put this in the remote server. Funny enough, the Anuet is actually pretty rough. They have nothing. We hit this button once. And we advance this, and we have locked them out. It's all based on dice. Like, oh, like D20 dice. Yes, I'm thinking D6. Okay. That's cool. That is cool. So they have 12 credits. Sometimes you don't want to take as many tags with God of War. They still have 1 more counter surveillance, but again, they need to have an access and enough credits so they could flush hand, which honestly is, well, they probably won't have the Bologna money at that point, but Karen Gillan wrote stuff like Wicked plus The Divine, also known for writing the Captain Marvel series that the movie is based on. Huh. Yo, did y'all see that the Firaxis people are working on a new RPG tactics Marvel game? Like, I'm not too excited about most Marvel stuff. I think it falls into the same, like, and again, bad take on the internet, I get it, but it's the same Star Wars camp that it just kind of like NBN tickles me the wrong way at this point in time. But I'll play anything that I think Jake Solomon works on. It's usually really good stuff. That being said, also, their design for Wolverine looks sick. I'm into that. So glad our streamer is no longer under the influence of Yellow King. It's been a while. I was actually thinking about that the other day. Okay, so it's either 8 credits with this or it's 7. So I'm not assuming they're going to use the God of War. So I don't think we need a purge here. I remember because I was thinking, it was like Maddie was asking, like, what was there before? It's like, well, there was some French poetry for a while. And Geofront. Oh, that's a rough axis. I think McKelvey designed the costume Captain Marvel, but Guild didn't write. Wasn't Kelly Sue DeConnick? I know very little. Hey, if Mario Rabbids can be good, XCOM, like, so can Marvel. Yeah, XCOM 2 is like just an absolute masterpiece, especially with expansions. Oh, wow. Wow. Purge for 8. Let's go. Good game. Woo. They made 78 credits. We made 73. Like, not too far off from economy. Again, their pressure. We needed to respect the APAC. I think there was a huge turn. There was one big turn there between the scoring and hitting up Planogram to stop the APAC. Looking for either Anoetic or Chrysium for R&D. Got lucky enough with the Hydra. And like, this is such a big deal. Like, you saw it so clearly. Like, oh, server 1 looked great. I'm going to advance in server 1. And then our central servers were a Botulus Dice and Enigma, and we would have lost the game. So that one play, I think, was basically the whole game came down to right. That is planogramming and understanding how we're going to lose and playing around that. I don't think it was too hard to read that this was an apocalypse list, considering how little of a board state they had, the counter surveillance, and we didn't see any like permanent tag things. Not that it really was. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Enigma. Yeah. Then you need to deal with Enigma plus 3 credits for APOC. The trashing itself. Yeah. The net damage was just the ice on top. Pun intended. Icing on top, I guess. Thanks for the game, eh? Cool deck. I just downloaded XCOM 2 the other day. Lost my whole team on the first mission. I stopped playing then. No, you shouldn't. I promise you, Jester. Don't stop playing. Like, that game does such a good job where like losing your team is kind of built in, and in some ways it kind of strengthens you. I don't know. It's great. I like it a lot. I would highly recommend, unrecommend save scumming and doing other stuff like that. It does look fun. Catch you around, eh? I think I'm assuming McKelvey and Gillen are the same person. Somehow the Captain Marvel thing went from there. Oh, if you're playing another Captain Nice's host is very fun. It's unfortunately midnight right now. I also kind of need to like not talk too much because I got to talk for like 11 hours or whatever. It's going to be on Saturday plus more. So I probably should be streaming a bit less, honestly. Good evening. I assume we talked to Death, the Hasbro news. Yo, we talked about it a bit, Wink. How's it going? We mentioned it. It looks weird. We talked about magic. It was interesting. But yeah, we have no idea. I'm definitely, I think that couldn't be potentially a really big deal, and interested to see what happens there. If you want a lighter XCOM 2 variant, I'd recommend SteamWorld Heist. It's 2D, but good. I bounced off SteamWorld Heist. That's the one where like you line up your shots and it like bounces around, right? Because I felt like every game just had the same strategy, which is like just get behind something and then just angle a shot into their head. Putting fat stacks down on Terrence right now on Moomin. Yeah, when it comes to who do I think is going to win is the question. I don't know. I think you see actually some of the signups already. I think some of them are public. I want to root for Yasengrin pretty heavily. Yasengrin has a great channel, and I think winning something like this would be huge for his channel, which would be fantastic. Otherwise, there's a lot of people that like are just kind of friends of the channel, friends in general, that would be voting for. I think Cody is almost always a safe pick. Always showing up there in the top cut. Cody's a lovely dude. Otherwise, Big Unit easily could do it. We saw Big Unit crush it this year so far in competitive play. Armin Firecracker as well, I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of names here. I feel bad picking someone because then there's other people that like, Chenchling, Bushi, like all these people I think are people that have a chance for sure. Mendax. So don't put me in a corner there, but we'll be unbiased, right? Ring for Sangren and Code for sure. Yeah, I think those are good picks. I'd be very happy if you Sangren took it. That'd be awesome. If you wanted Magic, let me know. I was a grinder for a long time. If you want to play Magic, XCOM Chimera Squad was really fun. XCOM Chimera Squad is really cool because it was like different than XCOM. I think it didn't nail everything. It was a bit buggy when it came out, but as like a pickup XCOM that had some really interesting extra ideas, I enjoyed Chimera. I want to play it again on harder difficulty as well. I thought it was cool. I think we were just gonna open this real quick because NetDad played this at the tournament. This was sent over. Oh wait, no, this is wildly illegal. Why was this deck linked? You can't play this. That's a problem with like DECKLISTS. It's like some of the best ice is gone. You can't play any of this stuff. So what do you play? Like Aiki? Have fun, right? No one puts Andre in a corner. Yeah, okay. Thanks for stream. Yeah, thank you. That's gonna be it. Again, excuse me, I'm disgusting. We're gonna be streaming the event on Saturday. It starts at about 11. We'll be streaming starting about 10:30, 10:45 starting. I think I'm being joined by Phil in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. It won't be here. Once again, I can't stress this enough. It won't be on this channel. We're not going to stream it on this channel. It'll all be on twitch.tv/Project Nisei. It'll be in the show notes. Go here now if you can. Hit that turn notification button on. It'll ping you when they're live. You can subscribe with if you have Amazon Prime, or you can pay money out of your pocket as well. But we'll be here. We're not going to be on this channel. We're going to be here. It'll be 2 days. If you're playing, best of luck, have fun. Hope you have a great time doing it. It's going to be an absolute pleasure. Timmy says, you seen the new Arkham spoilers? I saw, I think, 4 cards so far. Maybe 4 or 5. Arkham is going to be a while. It keeps getting pushed. I want more Arkham, that's for sure. Project Nisei. Yeah, that's it. Again, best of luck, everyone there. We'll be streaming all weekend. Excited to see y'all there. We'll have chat open. We're not going to be interacting with chat too much. There will be raffles as well. But it's not going to be like we can't hang out and like, directly talk to each other. So, but hope you're there. Hope you're having a good time. If you're playing, best of luck. A huge shout out to everyone hanging out in stream. Will you be seeing Twitch chat? Yes. We'll have Nisei chat open for sure. Everyone we played games against, good games. Think we're playing. Everybody who's just watching the VOD, hope you're doing good. I think that's it. Let me know if y'all want to do a stream where we can play maybe next week. What's it called? Earthborn Rangers. I also want to do a stream to teach Flesh and Blood. Because as much as people don't like Flesh and Blood because it is a booster box game, the game is really good. There's some really smart design. Again, it's multiplayer Slay to Spire. It's great. And I've been really enjoying that game right now. That's it. See you in 2 days. Less than. See you in like a day and a half. Ciao.